You won't believe this, but I awakened an S-class skill. I can generate infinite mana. I was going to become incredible, and all the girls would fall at my feet. But at the beginning of my story, that's not what happened. Everyone looked down on me because my magic was only useful for mages and healers. I was just a low-level hunter, level 29, so during battles, I could only stand by and watch. I was only useful when the party's mages ran out of mana, then I would spring into action to recharge them. With my help, the mage would return to full mana and launch an all-out attack, successfully defeating the boss. But no one ever thanked me, they just treated me like a tool. My leader told me I didn't contribute much today, so I should help harvest the useful parts from the boss. I felt wronged, but I had no choice but to obey. That guy isn't part of the combat team. That's why he has to do logistical work, a nearby colleague sneered. I heard he only has one skill, infinite mana generation. Even though it's an S-class skill, it's useless. Healers can recharge their own mana, he just makes it faster. His effects only show up in situations, like today's boss fight, where large amounts of magic are needed. When hunting common monsters, it's basically useless. Even though he's been a hunter for 5 years, he's still not level 30. I could only silently endure their voices, making fun of me. Just you wait, I thought. Once I reached level 30, everything would be different. Back at the Great Sages Guild headquarters, I heard the news I least wanted to hear. Sano, they told me. No one is willing to party up with you anymore, and since you're still level 29, it's impossible for you to clear dungeons alone. So after some discussion, we've decided to transfer you to the business department, where you can make full use of your abilities. If I couldn't even clear dungeons, what was all my effort for? In the end, I decided to leave. However, what nobody knew was that my ability was actually more than just infinite magic generation. Surprisingly, my skill had awakened even before I became a hunter. As soon as the ability activated, a pop-up window appeared before me. After I clicked copy on the pop-up, it instantly transformed into food in my hand. I thought it was an incredibly powerful skill, but after truly understanding it, I realized how terrible its drawbacks were. As soon as the copied items left my body, they would dissolve into beams of light and disappear. What was annoying was that the copied equipment also had level restrictions. Equipment above my own level would simply fail to copy. Strangely, the magical power that I copied didn't disappear. It could also be transferred for others to use. This led to a misunderstanding about my true ability, and that's why they called it infinite magic generation. Although I could also copy the skills of others, there were several conditional restrictions. Then a news alert popped up on my phone. The Dragon Sword of Kalesia would be displayed in the island nation. This long sword had 2 skill slots, special ones and effects that increased defense. Its most special feature was that the moment someone equipped it, their level would rise to 200. Even though the equipment requirement was only level 30, however, this divine weapon known as the legendary sword had only 10 points of durability. That was its main drawback, but for me, durability didn't matter. I could copy it infinitely. I just needed to reach level 30 within a week and touch this sword. So I joined a temporarily formed party to conquer the giant king spider's dungeon. And there I was again, hiding behind the mage, occasionally boosting the blonde guy's mana. This blonde guy was also quite rude. Every time his mana was refilled, he would unleash ultimate attacks without fear of running out. However, I didn't care anymore. I was only concerned with how much more experience I needed to level up. Mr. Sano, still looking at your status information? This was Ikanaga, a member of the Great Sage Guild. In fact, my junior, although I, his senior, was living quite miserably. I heard he was short on cash, so he joined these temporary parties to earn money in his free time. Soon, we arrived at the boss's room. The boss, a level 80, giant king spider. The pressure here is intense. Can we really win this? I'm extremely nervous now, and Ikanaga notices my fear and tries to comfort me. Don't worry, senpai, just stay hidden in the back. Defeating the giant king spider is actually quite simple. Just be careful of its silk. If you get entangled, it's hard to break free. Besides, if the spider eggs are damaged, the giant king spider will go completely berserk. Suddenly, the blonde guy nearby gets impatient. Ikanaga, so why are you explaining all this to a spectator? Let's just get this over with. He angrily kicks a small stone at his feet, but the stone unexpectedly hits a spider web. The giant king spider instantly senses the movement. It lets out a tremendous roar and attacks everyone. Damn it, Mage, look what you did. Fortunately, our tank blocked the attack and even managed to cut off one of the boss's legs. What are you all standing around for? Attack. Everyone then raises their weapons and charges at the boss, unleashing their signature moves. Meanwhile, I can only hide behind them, silently cheering for my teammates. But then an accident still happens just like that. As the giant Spider King uses its silk ability, that foolish blonde starts acting recklessly again. He casts a wide-range flame skill directly at the nest. The boss takes no damage thanks to the protection of the silk. But the spider eggs in the nest are destroyed. Seeing this, the giant Spider King becomes completely enraged. It immediately spits out countless silks. Everyone is caught, they can't escape in time, and they become completely entangled in the silks. Why is this happening? My flames don't work on the silks. The blonde screams attract the giant Spider King. It walks slowly towards him. Only then does he realize his foolishness. Terrified beyond belief, with a single scream, the blonde vanishes from this world. Watching this, I am filled with terror. My entire body is bound tightly by silks, completely unable to move. Who can save me? The giant Spider King's next target is me looking at the monster. So, up close, I feel total despair. I thought this low-level dungeon would be safe, but it ended up like this. I refuse to accept it. It's a copy and paste ability. Whenever I'm about to die, my skill activates automatically. It creates a copy of myself from just a moment before the original body then disappears. But my resurrection doesn't free me from this crisis. I was killed by the boss again, Control+5, I am newly revived. I immediately hide. This isn't working. What should I do? Just as I'm struggling, I hear a faint cry for help. It's Kagan, so he's still alive. But I can barely protect myself right now. The boss is steadily approaching. I know that if I don't do something, Kagan will also die for sure. Damn it. As a senior, how can I just watch my junior be killed? So I charge forward with my sword, striking heavily at the leg the boss is about to attack with. The powerful recoil throws me to the ground. Fortunately, the boss's attack is deflected because of it. At that moment, a system window appears level 30. I stare at the system panel in confusion. What's happening? How did I suddenly level up? Could it be that my attack just now had some effect? While I'm still stunned, I'm killed by the boss again. Control+5, are you kidding me? But how can my attacks even hurt you? I won't run anymore. Even if I die countless times, I will defeat you. After 3 days and nights of battle, I died 50 times. Almost all of the team's weapons have been broken by me. My level has increased again, which is good news. The boss is also covered in wounds. Now, it's time to end this battle. I quickly dodge the boss's silk attack as it lunges at me again. I seize the opportunity. I jump onto its giant leg. Then I raise my sword and charge die. I use all my strength to strike the boss's head, but my sword really shatters. This is what you get with cheap, unreliable knockoffs. I lose my balance and fall heavily to the ground. The boss roars at me, and as I prepare to face death again, a miracle happens. The spot I just struck suddenly shows cracks. They rapidly spread across its entire body. With a massive explosion, the boss shatters into countless pieces. Sean is lying on the ground, strengthless, breathing heavily. Ha 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 ha, I think to myself. I finally did it. Then, several level-up notification windows appear. Congratulations on obtaining the Giant King Spider's reward. After resting, I carry Icarus and prepare to leave this dungeon. But then we are hit by a sudden attack. I look forward in terror as numerous level 30 spiderlings are emerging. Damn it, I think. I'm fine. But Icarus is still here. Against so many spiders, all I can do is use my body to shield him. Just as these little spiders attack, a miracle happens. The lead spider is sliced in half, and a figure suddenly appears before me. Countless spiders swarm toward her. But the mysterious person simply raises her weapon. A terrifying hellfire instantly incinerates all the spiders to ash. Hellfire is the highest level of fire magic. If I remember correctly, only a handful of people in the entire world can use it. Only one user in the island nation can do that. The magic swordsman, who wields the witch's blade, the 5th-ranked hunter of the island nation. Nines, are you two the only survivors? She asks, looking at the bodies scattered on the ground. All of them were high-level hunters. The low-level Sean not only survived the boss room, but also saved a teammate. Nanessa has to start wondering what exactly happened here. How did you manage this? She asks. Back at the headquarters of the Island Nation's Hunter Association. Unexpectedly, Hunter Nanessa is also the Director of Immigration Management for Dungeons. After a few simple questions, Nanessa says, "This is the silk thread from the Giant King Spider," she adds. "Along with the other spoils from this dungeon, I will have them delivered to you later. If there is nothing else, you may go." I can hardly believe it's that simple. My team was unregistered, which constitutes an illegal dungeon clear. Can I really just leave like this? These things happen every day, she explains. Many unregistered teams suffer casualties when entering dungeons, without permission, all for their own interests. The association has actually tacitly accepted this behavior. Hearing this response, I breathe a sigh of relief and get up to leave. Nines picks up the spider silk and calls out to me. "It seems you forgot this." "There's no need," I say. "Please, pass this and any other earnings to my junior." After saying that, I close the door and leave. Looking at the spider silk in her hand, Nina becomes intrigued. What exactly is this guy hiding? Leaving through the door, I can't hold it in anymore. I give a triumphant smile. Great. I think. I did it. Spider silk. And now I have an infinite supply. The giant Spider King's silk can launch webs just like the giant Spider King. It has strong adhesiveness and a usage level of 40. What the heck is this? I wonder. After finally killing the boss, I receive an item like this. I'll copy it first, but the moment I touched it, the spider silk vanished right before my eyes. I was completely confused. What just happened? The system notified me. Giant Spider King's silk, absorbed by the current skill. Control+V skill value increased. I looked in surprise at the text in the system pop-up. My control skill allowed me to copy controlled objects. Control+V let me paste them. My skill, now at level 1, had 3 options. This was incredible. I never thought my skill could level up. I immediately clicked. On the 3 new skill options for copy and paste, a new pop-up appeared. The first option let me paste copied objects and keep them for a desired duration. The second allowed me to merge any objects within a specific time frame. And the third offered the ability to unravel the giant Spider King's silk. This evolved skill was a huge surprise. Now, the copied objects wouldn't disappear immediately, even if they left my body. I decided to try copying the spider silk for 1 minute. Sure enough, it didn't disappear after leaving my hand. After waiting for exactly 1 minute, the spider silk vanished as predicted. I was going to be rich. If I set the duration to 1,000 or even 10,000 years, wouldn't that essentially mean it would never disappear? As I thought about the potential dungeon earnings, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. From today on, I'm a rich man. The best life awaits me. Meanwhile, on the Rainbow Bridge, a huge truck was speeding along. This was the vehicle transporting the dragon sword, Kalaskia. The transport personnel included Mel Grant, a level 112 fighter, and Ares Hulk, a level 131 mage. Both belonged to the International Hunter Association. This was supposed to be the last stop for the sword's exhibition. Do you plan on taking a vacation after this is over? I want to explore the dungeons of the island nation. I hope you find some treasure this time. Ares, however, was not amused. Minding other people's business will only cause trouble, he retorted. At that moment, a report crackled over the radio. Currently passing through the Rainbow Bridge dungeon communication will be interrupted for about 5 minutes, due to electromagnetic interference inside the dungeon. Upon hearing this, Kyle looked out the window. The dungeon located in the sea looked so romantic to him. Ares, however, felt a sense of unease. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon at the immigration office, 2 hunters were on duty. Fireball, this job is so boring, one complained. Fireball looked disdainfully at Satoru Shinoda. You're a level 21 rookie, he scoffed. You got this easy job through connections, and you're still not satisfied. You should know that 3 weeks ago a major incident occurred right here at that moment. Something strange suddenly rolled to their feet. Looking closely, it was actually a slime. Satoru Shinoda quickly bent down to pick it up. It's even cuter than the ones from the dungeons, he commented. Fireball's face, however, changed drastically upon seeing this. How can a monster appear outside the dungeon? Then a figure suddenly appeared nearby. Fireball looked back, terrified, only to see a large goblin swinging a club in his direction. Blood immediately gushed out. And right now, I was still at the Hunters Association. I was studying my information panel. Thanks to the huge experience gained from conquering the dungeon, I was now almost level 50. When I reach level 50, I'll be able to form a team and conquer the final dungeons well. Just as I was arrogantly preparing to use my ability to make a lot of money, a group of hunters ran past me from their hurried conversation. I quickly realized that the dungeon of the Rainbow Bridge was experiencing anomalies and was currently on red alert. Moreover, the truck transporting the dragon sword Khaleesi was on the bridge. Are you kidding me? The dragon sword Khaleesi is really there, I thought, stunned. On the roof of the Hunters Association, several aircraft were already on standby. Hunters from the association had gathered, preparing to provide support. Then the hunter Aeneas steps forward. She announces that the mission's priority is to rescue the citizens, and protecting the dragon sword Khaleesi is only secondary. Just as Aeneas prepares to board her aircraft, she sees a commotion in the distance. Looking closer, she realizes it's me. Brazenly trying to tag along, I call out, "Hunter Aeneas, please. Let me go with you. I also want to save more people, and I can help guide and evacuate citizens." Aeneas is surprised to see me. She remembers how I mysteriously survived before, and how I helped her junior, so she agrees to take me along with the other hunters. I learn that the Rainbow Bridge dungeon seems a bit strange. They had just contained the unrest there 3 weeks ago, and now anomalies are occurring again. Honestly, nothing in this world is surprising anymore. Even collapsed dungeons can collapse again. and each time we have to stop it. We need to prevent the tragedy from 15 years ago from repeating itself. Back then, global disasters occurred simultaneously. The national-level disaster dungeons all collapsed. If monsters are not properly subjugated, the dungeons will collapse due to saturation. During that time, many monsters poured out of the dungeons and invaded the cities. A massive number of citizens were attacked, and the cities instantly became a living hell. I was a survivor of that disaster, but I lost my parents. It was then that a being from another world appeared before me. He placed the curse of copy and paste abilities on me. The being said the curse was a gift, but it came with a 20-year limit. I just don't know if this limit refers to the ability's duration or my lifespan. There are still 5 years until that deadline. If that being's appearance was linked to the global catastrophe, then that means the disaster will come again in 5 years, along with its reappearance. Now I've found a way to become stronger. If I can become the strongest hunter, I can prevent the next global disaster and lift this curse from me. At this moment, the Rainbow Bridge is in complete chaos. Explosions can be heard from time to time. Arthur watches helplessly as numerous monsters attack citizens. There are just too many enemies. We definitely need more hunters. Then a goblin attacks from behind. Arthur turns and swings his sword, dealing with it. But as soon as he finishes, another goblin comes from behind with a surprise attack. Fortunately, someone saves him. It's Fireball from before. "Thanks, Arthur," he says. He adds, "You've saved me twice today. If you hadn't knocked me down earlier, I would have died." However, the other party seems to look down on Arthur, clearly thinking he only got in through connections. But Arthur resolves, silently in his heart, "Senpai, no matter what, I will repay you." Fireball says, "We need to get from here to the bridgehead quickly and meet up with the rescue team." Meanwhile, at the center of the Rainbow Bridge, a giant beast is attacking the transport truck. It's actually a huge level 190 bear. A hunter asks Ares, "Is this truck even safe?" Another one replies, "Barely. I understand your concern." He continues, "Don't worry, my protection magic is max level. Even a level 400 monster can't break my defense." However, an anomaly suddenly occurs. The entire bridge trembles and sways violently. Everyone looks on at this scene in disbelief. Even the strongest defenses are useless against it. At that moment, the support aircraft from the Hunters Association finally arrived. This shouldn't be happening. It's the final boss of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon. A massive, dragon-like monster suddenly emerges from the sea. All units, prepare to attack. In the next second, the boss unleashes dragon fire directly onto the bridge. The attack instantly engulfs everything around it. A large section of the Rainbow Bridge vanishes, leaving only the boss floating in the sea. From the plane, I watch this scene unfold in terror. The boss seems to notice us above. It opens its mouth, clearly preparing another attack. Another massive dragon's breath shoots out moments later. The aircraft explodes. Everyone quickly jumps to avoid the blast. With the sudden appearance of the dungeon boss, the plans change immediately. All the association's hunters are now preparing to defeat the boss. They quickly gather their forces. Nias then activates her magic, with hellfire continuously pouring from her sword with a loud cry, and numerous blasts of hellfire shoot from the blade, heading straight for the boss. Meanwhile, Sano uses his spider silk to land safely. The main target is now the dragon sword, Kalisha. Along the way, Sano discovers countless monster corpses, but no sign of any hunters. As he ponders this, a loud shout echoes, "Run, Satoru Shinoda!" He is desperately fighting monsters just ahead. Behind him is Fireball, gravely injured. "You need to get out now, or you'll die too." Fireball urges. However, Satoru Shinoda refuses to abandon his teammate. "You idiot! Do you know why low-level monsters appear in high-level dungeons?" Fireball asks. "They appear in groups, and their combined strength rivals that of high-level monsters. If you don't run now, it will be too late." But it's already too late. They are wolf demons, level 15. Individually low-level, but they usually appear in packs. Their combined strength is comparable to high-level monsters. Behind them, numerous other wolf demons are approaching. Still, Satoru Shinoda has no regrets. "My senior protected me before," Satoru Shinoda thinks. "This time, I will protect them." Sano watches the scene from afar, remembering a time when he saved his own junior. His departing footsteps stop once more. Suddenly, they are surrounded by wolf demons. Satoru Shinoda struggles to resist, but there are simply too many monsters. Just as a demon, Wolf prepares to attack Satoru Shinoda. Sano arrives, knocking the monster down. "Are you okay?" Aiden is surprised by Kind's sudden appearance, but his terror doesn't fade. Numerous wolf demons are closing in. "Thank you for the help," Aiden replies. Let's get out of here. That pack of demons is tough, even for high-level hunters to handle. However, Kane just stands there silently. A small smile plays on his face. Oh, is that so? Perfect, he says. Aiden is confused by these words. A pack of wolf demons charges toward them as Kane opens his system panel. He remains perfectly calm. In an instant, Kane is completely immersed within the pack of wolf demons. Aiden was terrified by what he saw. But then, numerous spiderwebs suddenly bind all the wolf demons. Kane emerges from the wolf pack. The effect was stunning. The spider silk contracted continuously, trapping the demons ever tighter. A grand spectacle unfolded before his eyes. Aiden watched it all in shock, followed by the sound of a level-up notification from the system. What kind of skill was that? He took down so many monsters at once. But now, Kane faced a dilemma. If he left the two of them here, they would likely be attacked by monsters again. Kane had important matters to attend to. He couldn't just drag two people along with him. What should he do? He could only do one thing. Kane then took out a bottle, containing a red liquid. Fireball took the bottle, looking confused. This is a mid-grade potion, Kane explained. Take it. It can heal your wounds. Fireball was surprised to hear this. Why are you giving me something so precious, he asked. Because it's a senior's responsibility to bring his juniors back safely. Aiden was instantly moved. Thank you so much, he said. I will definitely repay your kindness. Kane was about to leave when he suddenly turned back to Aiden. A goofy smile appeared on his face. If you want to repay me, Kane said, could you tell me where the International Hunter Association's transport vehicle is headed? I have a terrible sense of direction. Aiden was surprised. He didn't expect his savior to be so bad with directions. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge, a group of mysterious people was rushing toward the center. The appearance of the boss was completely unexpected. One wrong move, and they would lose everything. The nations and the association would prioritize taking down the boss. This was because subjugating the boss was the fastest way to calm the dungeon. They planned to use this opportunity to steal the dragon sword. Calicia. Back at the center of the Rainbow Bridge, the giant monster bear was still on the rampage. Then Ares frantically cast another sleep spell, and the giant bear collapsed to the ground. It fell asleep immediately. You put it to sleep again? Someone asked. He is a hunter, but clearly a pacifist at this moment. A round iron ball flew towards them. Luckily, Mal noticed in time. He sliced the flying iron ball in half with a single strike. I knew you would come, Mal said. This had happened several times during the Camelot Bandits traveling exhibition. Then a group of figures dressed in black emerged from the darkness. One of them with sharp senses challenged him. I would really like to train with you. With that, he charged forward. Mal quickly raised his sword to block. Don't underestimate guard duty, Mal warned. Mal swung his sword, but the opponent easily dodged and retreated. Mal immediately gave chase. Ares quickly shouted for him to stop, but it was too late. Mal suddenly lost control of his body, and blood began to gush out. What's happening to me? He gasped. Ares rushed over quickly. Those guys used poison pills, he explained. Once you're poisoned, they block the absorption of magical power in the body. The poison pills. They were clearly items forbidden by the International Hunters Association. Even the normally calm Ares couldn't contain himself and became furious. I'll make you regret this, he declares, and magic activates in his hand, but it causes no damage. The person in black mocks him. A mage who can't use magic should just die. As he says this, a large fireball forms in his hand. Just as he is about to fire it, the head of the person in black is ripped off. The attacker is actually the giant bear. It turns out the mage's previous spell awakened this monster. The people in black look tiny compared to the giant bear. With a thunderous roar, the giant bear eliminates all the remaining individuals dressed in black. Seeing this, their leader flees immediately. A miscalculation, he thinks. I'd better retreat this time. The giant bear, having dealt with the black-robed group, slowly approaches Ares and Mal. Can you make it sleep again? Ares asks. No, Mal replies. I'm also affected by the toxins now blocking my magical power. I knew your pacifism would get you in trouble. Someday, he says. I just didn't expect it to be today. Yeah, Mal agrees. But you're different. He charges forward as a magic circle unfolds in his hand. Seeing this, Mal screams out, Come back, you'll die. He then spits out a mouthful of blood. Channeling magic to break through the toxins causes him unbearable pain. He wonders, is it still not working? By the time he reaches the giant bear's feet, his magic is completely depleted. What awaits him are the giant bear's sharp claws. Mal, I'm sorry, he whispers. Just as the giant bear's claws strike, countless spiderwebs appear before Ares. They immediately bind the attacking claws and then envelop the monster's entire body. The giant bear struggles relentlessly, but it's useless. It's quickly bound like a massive dumpling, then it stops moving. Ares stares at the scene in utter disbelief. This is Sano's handiwork. Sano's group of 3 had just arrived, and they hadn't expected their plan to work so perfectly. Ares and Mal are immediately wary of Sano's group. They suspect they are just more bandits, here to steal the sword. No matter how much Sano tries to explain, Ares and Mal refuse to believe him. It's only when Shinoda Satoru shows his ID that they begin to listen. "We are hunters from the Island Nation's Hunter Association," he explains. "We are responsible for managing the entrance and exit of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon." Seeing their change of heart, Sano then offers further assistance. "Heal your wounds first," he says, pulling out 2 mid-tier healing potions. Only then do Ares and Mal finally let down their guard. At that moment, several aircraft fly overhead. "Great!" someone exclaims. "New support teams have arrived. We're finally saved." Meanwhile, Hunter Eunice is still locked in battle with the dungeon boss. Just then, the boss enters its 3rd phase. Hunter Eunice immediately ceases her attack. "Watch out for the wide-range shockwave," she warns. "Our reinforcements have arrived. We need to buy time for the civilian evacuation. That's the only way to prevent the dungeon's collapse." Hunter Eunice, long time no see. The newcomer is Shirosaki Masato, a level 503 dark mage. Hunter Eunice looks back in surprise. "What are you doing here?" she asks. Shirosaki has no intention of explaining. He simply raises his magic staff. Magic, activate. A large magic circle then appears before the boss. Seeing this, Eunice immediately tells him to stop. "If that spell fails to defeat it, the consequences will be unthinkable," Eunice warns. However, Shirosaki has no intention of stopping. "If you worry about such trivial matters, nothing can ever be accomplished," Shirosaki retorts. "Leave it to me this time." He then immediately shouts black lightning. The boss is enveloped by a terrifying black lightning, screaming in pain. Seeing this, Nancy quickly shouts for everyone to run as the boss's massive body falls. The impact makes the Rainbow Bridge swing violently from side to side, and after all the chaos, the bridge is completely devastated, and Sean is grateful to have survived, thinking, "I thought I was going to die again." He thinks, looking at the broken bridge below. Fortunately, everyone is fine, and the transport vehicle is safe. However, Sean is surprised when he looks to the other side. A row of giant sharp teeth suddenly appears, and Sean is immediately so scared that he can't make a sound, worried that any movement might wake this monster. Just then, Shiro flies overhead, and Sean is surprised to see the emblem on his chest. It's the Future Guild. Ranked 3rd in the Island Nation, Shiro notices the giant bear tied up nearby and lightly touches the spider silk that binds it. The entire silk web immediately begins to crack until the giant bear itself is shattered into countless pieces. Sean is incredibly shocked by this scene. Then he is drawn by the sound of a system notification. Messages of a massive level up appear before Sean, but there is no item reward for killing the giant bear. Shiro, who is standing nearby, also heard the level up notification. "Were these spider silk threads made by you, kid?" he says. "I accidentally took the reward for the giant bear. Take it back, I don't like stealing from others." At that moment, a top-class female hunter arrives, and she is very surprised to see Sean. "We need to go now," she says immediately. "If that thing wakes up, it will go berserk and launch wide-scale attacks." Sean asks confusedly, "Why not just defeat it while it is down?" "Unfortunately, that is impossible," she replies. "High-level bosses have multiple phases, so the raids must be conducted phase by phase. According to the boss's abilities, when its health drops to 1/3, it will use its ultimate ability. Whether it is berserk or the area of effect attack, they are all full range. Right now we are just entering the 3rd phase, where the boss will have a protective barrier that continuously absorbs the surrounding magical power. This makes any attack during this period ineffective, and at that very moment, the boss's eyes suddenly snap open. It opens its mouth wide, roaring in fury, having woken up even earlier than expected. Shiro turns to look at Sean. "Farewell, do not blame me if you die," says Shiro. Then he and Nancy rush towards the boss immediately, engaging in a fierce battle once again. Sean immediately moves to rescue everyone, shouting everyone the situation is now urgent. He shouts that the boss has entered its 3rd phase and is about to launch a wide-range attack. "But we have no more time to escape," he adds. Everyone is shocked to hear this, so I must immediately get the dragon sword of Calesia to defeat the boss. "I promise to return it afterward," Zane assures her. However, Morgana doesn't believe such nonsense. "Although you've saved us 2 times with your low-level hunter status, even if you did get that sword, you couldn't defeat this ultimate boss. Besides, this sword can't be used many times in its current state," Morgana continues. "So it still won't work?" At that moment, Ares intervenes. "We need a large amount of magical power to unlock the seal on the transport vehicle," he explains. However, at the moment, We can't absorb any magical power due to the bandits' toxins. This is perfect. I told you, I'm known as the mobile magic charging station in this dungeon because I have an infinite magic generation skill. The moment my skill was activated, Ares was instantly filled with magical power. The seal on the transport vehicle broke immediately. Seeing this, Zane immediately jumped inside. I will definitely keep my promise to protect all of you. Ares asked why he would do that. It's all right, someone replied. He only restrained the giant bear earlier. He didn't kill it. Is that what moved you? Another person asked. Women truly are incomprehensible creatures. After jumping into the transport vehicle, I was extremely excited. The dragon sword of Kalesia was finally within reach. But then, the bandit from before suddenly appeared behind me, his blade raised to strike. By the time Zane realized the danger, it was already too late. The bandit stabbed him directly in the chest. Zane immediately collapsed inside the vehicle. The treasure sword was finally his. As the bandit slowly opened the treasure chest, a long, black sword lay inside. A system message appeared. When the user dies, the giant spider silk dissolves randomly. True to the message, the spider silk snapped, and the entire transport vehicle plunged into the water, sinking continuously into the dark depths. Are you sure you wish to claim the object? As the assassin went to grab the dragon sword of Kalesia, Zane seized the opportunity to revive and get up. Then he stabbed the assassin from behind, with a single sword. I am the type of person who repays kindness with kindness, and vengeance with vengeance. Zane finally obtained the dragon sword of Kalesia. He immediately used his skill on it, to copy. However, a system warning appeared. The object cannot be copied because the user's level does not meet the necessary requirements. Sano looked at the system window in disbelief. How is this possible? The level requirement for this sword is 30, and I am already over level 50. I should definitely meet the requirements. But then, another incident occurred. The assassin from before was not really dead. He struck Sano violently with his blade. I almost brought shame to the assassins of the Blood Tower Guild. If I did not have healing skills, I would have been dead long ago. The sword has returned to my hands. Unfortunately, I am the type who forgets kindness but returns vengeance 10 times over. This time you will not have another chance, he said, pushing his sword toward Sano. Damn it, I have come so far, Sano thought. Suddenly, the Callous Dragon sword fused with its user. It began to copy, with the sword's value absorption skill. Absorption. What is this thing? Sano wondered. However, the system notification had not yet finished. It continued, copying the level of the Callous Dragon sword and absorbing, copying the passive skill of the Callous Dragon sword, a 35% increase in defense, absorbing, copying the unique skill of the Callous Dragon sword, 1. Vampirism, absorbing, copying, the unique skill of the Callous Dragon sword 2. Berserk, absorbing. All skills of the Callous Dragon sword were completely absorbed. A new notification appeared. When the user's health falls below 25%, the protection mode of the Callous Dragon sword is activated. Unique skill, 2 Berserk, will be forcibly executed at this moment. The Rainbow Bridge boss was about to release its ultimate skill. Its large area of effect attack began. The situation seemed desperate. But then a huge blast of energy erupted from the bottom of the sea. It pierced directly through the boss's entire body. Shirosaki and the hunter Nasa stared at the scene in disbelief. The system message flashed. Boss defeated successfully. Dungeon cleared. Later, the Island Nations Hunter Association reported this afternoon at 4 o'clock. The Rainbow Bridge dungeon outbreak caused great casualties and disaster. Thanks to the help of the hunters, the dungeon was quickly pacified. The chairman immediately cut the video. He said, "To everyone, stop making those expressions," Takeuchi asked. "Did we not successfully kill the boss this time?" Shinoda then interjected. "But I heard the Rainbow Bridge dungeon was cleared just 3 months ago," he added. "Even if it was cleared, it's possible for it to have an outbreak again." Someone shouted, "Shut up, all of you, how are you managing things? Dungeons keep spawning consecutively in such a short time." Nina, a hunter sitting nearby, had no interest in these discussions, however. Trouble soon found her. Another voice pressed, "What I want to know is this. Final bosses usually need more than 5 months to recover, right?" Nina lied earlier 3 months ago. There was no successful strategy to defeat it. In no way Nina, who didn't want to be part of their disputes, became furious when they started pointing fingers at her. With a powerful slam, she shattered the conference table with a single hand just as the conflict was about to erupt. The president of the Hunters Association immediately stepped forward to mediate. "My employee was rude." He stated, "I apologize on his behalf," he then warned. "Acting like this could get you killed," but seeing that the others wouldn't back down, Nina finally spoke, as they say. She began. Hearing is one thing, but seeing is believing. No matter what I say, you won't believe me. That shockwave just now was the reward for defeating the Rainbow Bridge boss 3 months ago. If you don't believe me, you can ask the person beside me, Nina continued. Furthermore, I will take responsibility for investigating the cause of this outbreak, and we will hold the negligent guild accountable this time. At that moment, Moore and Ares entered. We are from the International Hunters Association. Moore announced. We are here with an important announcement. The dragon sword Kalisha has been stolen. Please prioritize helping us recover the sword. A voice from the room questioned. Wait, I heard you yourselves unlocked the seal on the transport vehicle. When you were attacked, Moore replied, that's because we accepted your request for assistance from a hunter. Satoru Shinoda of a major guild, and Sano from the Hunters Association were present at the time. Everyone was shocked to hear this. President Fu quickly took out his phone to search, but found no information on Sano. Only Nina knew Sano's true identity. Did Sano really steal the sword? Of course not. The dragon sword Kalisha had already been taken by the assassin. He delivered it to Master Kurosaki. Just holding the sword increases a person's level by 200%. The longsword identifies users through the runes on the hilt. For Kurosaki, spending hundreds of millions to cause the emergence of the dungeon was still worth it. But as soon as the assassin went to collect his payment, Kurosaki killed him. The fewer people who know the secrets, the better. The durability of the sword of the Kalisha dragon decreased by 2 points, leaving 8 remaining. Kurosaki looked at the sword in his hand and smiled. It wouldn't be fun if it broke before he could fix it. Suddenly, Sano woke from his nightmare with a jolt, the mark on his neck emitting a faint blue light. This hourglass countdown is acting up again, Sano grumbled. Upon seeing him wake up, Satoru Shinoda was overjoyed. I was so scared you would never wake up, old man, he exclaimed. Don't look at that guy like that. He really saved you. He mobilized many hunters from the Great Sage Guild to find you. They finally found you unconscious on a beach. Oh right, you probably don't know this yet. Satoru Shinoda is actually the son of the Great Sage Guild's president, Shiro Shinoda. I can't believe it. In the office of the Hunter Association's president, a question was asked. Did you really witness Hunter Sano's death? Personally? The answer? Yes. We saw it with our own eyes. Now that he's back to life, aren't you surprised? The response was calm. I've seen stranger things since becoming a hunter. Please assign several high-level hunters to help us track the sword, then have Hunter Nanase coordinate with you on this operation. Not just anyone can use the Kalisha dragon sword. It has runes engraved on it that can determine the user's level. I can sense and track these runes, and I feel they were used about an hour ago, before it was stolen. Its durability was 10. Now the durability has decreased. We need to find it before it disappears completely. 15 years ago, after the great disaster, Ari's mother suddenly vanished. The Kalisha dragon sword is the only clue. It's actually a relic that belongs to Ari's mother. This is all the information that Nanase has investigated so far. However, Nanase is certain that Mo and Ari are definitely hiding some secrets. Even Hunter Sano seems to be concealing something. At that moment, Shiro Shinoda approached Nanase. Planning on going back? Shiro asked. The major clans would welcome you back at any time. Nanase replied. The major clans should establish proper management companies, not just focus on making money from dungeons. Look at today's incident at the Rainbow Bridge. Once I find out it was caused by management negligence, I will hold them accountable. Shiro asked. Is that your reason for not returning? The association still has many matters that need my attention. Nanase replied. Her father, Shiro, sighed. All right. My daughter has grown up and has things she wants to do. Meanwhile, at Central Hospital, Sano was sitting alone on the roof, checking his status window, which displayed the following. Level 76 plus 200 bonus levels, and skill proficiency level 2. Profession proficiency level 9. He thought, although I couldn't copy the Silesian dragon sword itself, all of its skills seem to have been absorbed by me. The rage skill, especially, is incredibly powerful. He reviewed the details of rage. All of the user's ability, values, and level are doubled for a duration of 1 minute. The cooldown is 1 day, and the activation condition is forcibly triggered when the user's health is below 25%. He recalled that he had even directly killed a boss above level 400 with it. Back then, the boss was successfully defeated, and he obtained the reward for clearing the dungeon. He also acquired the boss skill, Shockwave, and his Control+C ability evolved. The Shockwave skill was absorbed and converted into 2 new skills, Inherent Vibration and Inherent Wave. His Giant Spider Leg skill also rose to level 2. Now, when using Giant Spider Legs, he was able to simultaneously use Inherent Wave and Vampirism. My copy and paste ability has evolved into absorb and fuse, he thought. This is incredible. In the elevator, Sano was laughing to himself. A little girl nearby asked, "Is there something wrong with that, mister?" Meanwhile, Sano was thinking, "I just tested inherent vibration. It's unbelievably powerful." As he thought this, Sano couldn't help but let out a sinister grin, causing the other people in the elevator to tremble in fear. The girl whispered, "That mister looks so scary, like he's having a fit." Just as Sano was stepping out of the elevator, a familiar voice caught his attention. "I'm so glad you're okay," he heard. "Didn't I tell you to run away immediately when there's danger?" Sano approached silently. He wondered who Hunter Nanase was visiting at the hospital. "Sister, I'm so sorry for worrying you," a voice said. "Nanase and Shinoda Satoru are really siblings?" Sano's jaw dropped in shock. After the siblings talked for a few moments, Hunter Nanase began to ask about Sano's whereabouts. Hearing this from a distance, Sano immediately hid. Could it be that they found out I impersonated someone from the Hunters Association to steal the sword? I need to escape before anyone notices, he thought. However, he was caught red-handed. "Where do you think you're going, you thief?" Moore demanded. "It seems there's no escape," Sano thought, as Moore grabbed his collar tightly, slamming him hard against the wall. "You really dared to lie about being from the Hunters Association?" Moore didn't believe Sano, no matter how he tried to explain. "We clearly saw you get killed, but now you're alive and kicking. How can you say you're not with those thugs?" With that, Moore drew his longsword, preparing to use a special technique. Iris quickly rushed forward to stop him. However, Moore had completely lost his cool, raising his sword to stab Sano. Just as the blade was about to hit Sano, his inherent vibration ability activated. Light exploded from his fingertips. The moment Sano's fingers touched the blade, Moore's longsword shattered like glass. Moore stared in disbelief, watching his weapon instantly shatter. At that moment, the brothers were drawn by the commotion and witnessed the entire scene. That was the shockwave ability of the Rainbow Bridge's boss. They realized just then, could he be the one who killed the boss 15 years ago? Disasters had occurred simultaneously all over the world. A large number of monsters poured out of dungeons, invading cities. Many citizens were attacked, and the cities instantly transformed into a living hell. Among the ruins, Arita encountered an interdimensional being who granted her a special ability. Initially, Arita thought her awakening as a hunter had simply granted her a unique skill. Her ability worked like a computer operation, allowing her to restore any object to its original state. This could range from healing wounds to repairing broken items. Arita used this ability to restore many artifacts from the ruins, earning some money. Occasionally, she even acted as a healer, helping people recover from their injuries. However, she wasn't satisfied with the speed of her earnings. "I need money," she thought. "I need a lot of money." Her parents had fallen into a coma during the Great Disaster. Arita tried to use her ability to restore them to their former state, but it required an enormous amount of magical power. Without enough mana, she could only heal minor injuries. Only hunters could absorb magical power on their own. To get what she needed, Arita joined a hunter party, handling their logistics and sometimes acting as their healer. As an ordinary, unawakened person, it was like facing lions bare-handed. Constantly surrounded by danger, she was just trying to get a share of the magical power. Even so, her teammates often mocked her during their dungeon raids. Her team suffered devastating losses, only a heavily wounded Ariana survived. Looking at her dying colleagues, she didn't heal them instead. She collected the equipment they had dropped. "I'm sick of this life," she declared. At that moment, a man suddenly appeared before Ariana. "I heard you need magic power," he said. "Make a contract with me, my name is Kurosaki." And so Ariana was taken by him, eventually becoming a member of the idol group F. "I really envy you." Someone commented, "Being able to eat so much delicious food 3 times a day while maintaining your figure. What a blessing. I still remember the first time I saw you," continued Kurosaki. "There was a guy about to die right in front of you, but you only cared about looting his equipment. That's when I realized we were the same kind." To avoid misunderstandings, Kurosaki added, "Let me be clear from the start. As long as this contract exists, I will not interfere with what you do. So why do you want me to go to the dungeon with you this time?" asked Ariana. Kurosaki took out the Silesian dragon sword. "To repair it and use its ability to restore it," he explained. "It requires massive amounts of magic power. I guarantee this is the last time. I will ask you to go to a dungeon." Upon hearing this, Ariana became extremely excited. "Are you saying that the infinite generation of items is in this dungeon?" she asked. "Yes. We found it," confirmed Kurosaki, "although our contract is to avoid you entering dungeons as much as possible. This time, you must come with me, and I promise it will be the last time." Sano and his group, soon after everyone arrived at the Future Guild headquarters, the person Nana mentioned was actually Shirosaki. Even though the Future Guild is the second largest in the country, and its reputation isn't the best, its dungeon strategy management and intelligence are still considered world-class. Shirosaki entered the office to meet them. According to the Future Guild's investigation, the Blood Tower is a very mysterious organization. They recently focused on the Gargoyles' Snowy Mountain dungeon. This dungeon was discovered 15 years ago and has never been successfully cleared. The data shows it is the most troublesome dungeon, with only 2 strategy groups, and 1 collection group having ever attempted it. Furthermore, there is a hidden boss. The Great Gargoyle defeating this boss supposedly gives a hidden reward called the Heart of the Giant, also known as Infinite Generation. Infinite Generation. While I don't need it, it's certainly a powerful item, but what does that have to do with the Calician Dragon Sword? They are planning to use the sword to defeat the dungeon boss. To clear this dungeon, they're secretly recruiting on the Dark Silk. Their announcement reads, recruiting for the Gargoyles Snow Mountain Strategy Group. 30 members, level 90 and above. The recruiter is the Blood Tower Guild. Their behavior is extremely vile. They frequently murder expedition teams in dungeons, in secret, and plunder their items. This guild is truly steeped in darkness. At that moment, Nanase stepped forward and asked, since you already have this Giant's Heart project, are you planning to form a team to clear the Gargoyles Snow Mountain? Alone? We need to go immediately. Shirosaki, do you have a strategy group that can be mobilized immediately? Shirosaki grumbled to himself. Damn it, how did I get dragged into this by that woman? Despite his reluctance, he led his strategy group to the Snow Mountain, which of course included Sano and the others. Inside the Gargoyles Snow Mountain, they encountered stone giants. These monsters were level 40, with low attack power, but their numbers were enormous. Even though they weren't high level, they could respawn infinitely, as long as their cores remained intact, making them extremely troublesome. I really didn't want to come to this hellish place, muttered Shirosaki. He raised the magic staff in his hand, and immediately, many gargoyles took flight. As his black magic activated, the gargoyles in the air rapidly converged toward the center. Explode, he commanded. In the next second, a massive explosion resounded, and the gargoyles instantly turned into rubble. After clearing the area, he turned to his companions. Remember to destroy the cores that drop, he instructed. The hunters of the Future Guild relaxed instantly, knowing their captain was on the case. It's so easy, exclaimed one team member. Just like that, Shirosaki relied on his black magic to continuously eliminate the monsters. Sano witnessed all of it from a distance, feeling completely speechless. He had been so resistant before, but now he has become the most enthusiastic person here. According to Ares' investigation, this dungeon must be an inductive type. Dungeons are generally divided by areas. For common dungeons, if you are familiar with the paths, you can skip some areas and directly challenge the final boss. But in inductive dungeons, you must clear each area in order. If you fail midway, the hidden areas simply won't appear. This means that we need to defeat a certain number of gargoyles here before the boss even appears. The boss will only appear in the hidden area afterward, and they needed to be fast. If the reward for defeating this boss was the key to enter that hidden area, then they had to get it before the Blood Tower Guild. Sano, however, he didn't care about any hidden boss. He had only one purpose for being here, to help Ares recover the Dragon Sword of Calicia. Sano activated Control number 5, instantly releasing giant spider silk from his feet. Countless spider silks enveloped the gargoyles, and as the silk tightened, an inherent wave was activated simultaneously, instantly crushing the gargoyles to pieces. He even struck a cool pose. Real men never look at explosions. Meanwhile, Ares used ice magic, instantly freezing all the gargoyles ahead. Combined with Mew's slashing attacks, they easily defeated these monsters. Even so, the gargoyles were proving to be extremely troublesome. Several hunters couldn't keep up and suffered heavy blows. Fortunately, Nanase arrived just in time. She sliced off a gargoyle's arm with a single strike, and then she raised her palm to charge it, hitting the creature with a shockwave. This instantly pulverized the monster. Nanase then turned to ask if the hunters were injured, but then she spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Shinoda Satoru, what are you doing here? It was her younger brother, Shinoda Satoru. He immediately retorted, why can't I be here? I'm an official member here to support Sano-senpai. Nanase replied, what kind of foolishness is this? It turns out that when Sano asked to plan the dungeon run, Shinoda Satoru threw a tantrum to go along. He cried, I don't care, I want to go too. Shinoda continued, what if Sano-senpai gets lost again? I can help guide him. Sano was quite helpless against this. And finally he agreed, but there's one condition, Sano said. You can only come as a member of my team. Upon hearing this, Nanase felt a headache coming on. What are 2 low-level hunters doing forming a rookie team like this, she wondered. However, Shinoda Satoru immediately defended Sano. Don't underestimate Sano-senpai. Shinoda insisted, I personally saw Sano-senpai cut the dungeon boss of the Rainbow Bridge in half, recalling the various signs from the past few days. Nanase admitted that this was actually possible, but she still wondered how exactly he did it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the dungeon, the Blood Tower Guild was also rapidly clearing out gargoyles. Kurosaki and Arita Sara were resting peacefully near a cave entrance when Kurosaki commented, we don't need to participate in this kind of mob clearing, we just use our skills of stealth to hide among the strategy group. Arita Sara replied, although stealth skills are convenient, we have to be careful with high-level hunters. Their perception is often very sharp. Kurosaki then turned to Rita Sara. How is the magic absorption going? This is a high-level magic transmitter, Rita Sara explained, and it was very expensive. She continued, you need to defeat 100 low-level monsters to fill it up. In the previous Rainbow Bridge dungeon, I used 10 of these to unleash a surge to restore Calicia's dragon sword. It will require about double that, she added. Rita Sara then declared, so you want to restore that sword? To use it? And defeat the hidden boss here? She continued. From what I understand, there's a very powerful barrier in this hidden dungeon, and the only way to break it is with Calicia's dragon sword. I'm curious where you got that information, she insisted. Kurosaki wasn't planning on answering that question. You just need to restore what I want, he said firmly. Don't worry too much about the details. Rita Sara thought to herself. His eyes are so scary, she resolved silently. As long as this contract exists, I don't care what Kurosaki does. As long as I get enough magical power to restore my parents, I'm willing to do anything. Last night, after they defeated about 200 gargoyles, a mutation occurred. The ground began to crack, and countless gargoyle fragments flew forward. A terrifying monster stared at them from the darkness. Suddenly, a huge monster appeared before everyone. It was Curveball, a level 150 Snowy Mountain gargoyle boss. The boss extended its giant hand toward them. Damn it! Someone cursed. This boss is too big. At that moment, Kurosaki charged forward. He struck the boss with dark magic, instantly shattering it to pieces. Incredible, someone exclaimed. He finished it with just one blow. The surrounding debris immediately began to converge toward the center. The two nearby hunters froze in fear. At this point, the boss had already basically recovered. Oh no! Kurosaki quickly used dark magic again, destroying it once more. However, the core remained intact. At that moment, Sano seized the opportunity. He directly used giant spider silk on the core, and numerous threads of spider silk wrapped around it. However, the speed and strength were too weak to stop the boss's recovery. The boss now looked even more powerful. Damn it, someone cursed. Each recovery, it absorbs the surrounding gargoyle debris. We need to think of something fast. At that moment, Nini swung his spear, using Hellfire, and charged directly at the boss. However, it had no effect. Damn it, we can't melt its core. I knew it. Don't let this boss's pompous act fool you. The mid-boss is actually the trickiest part of this entire dungeon raid. You trigger its appearance by defeating a certain number of gargoyles. But here's the catch. The boss can also repair itself using gargoyle debris. This self-repair is the terrifying aspect of these specialized dungeons. Most ordinary hunter teams would have already fled in a panic, or worse, been completely annihilated. This monster can easily rival the final boss of many ordinary dungeons. There are only two ways to defeat it. Either destroy its core, or melt all the gargoyle debris that it uses to repair itself. Both options involve a tremendous amount of work. After just a few hits, Alara was already sweating profusely. Then, the boss revived right behind her. Alara spun around, using sheer willpower to cast Hellfire once more, completely melting the debris. Kale watched anxiously from a distance. He knew his Calamity Dragon Sword could solve this problem easily. However, using it would expose Arise and the others. Suddenly, Kale had an idea. He took out an item he had obtained previously from his system space. The item was called the Giant Bear's Paw. It had two main abilities. One was to control any object for a period of time, and the other was to enter and damage any object. Kael immediately used a control ability to absorb it, acquiring new skills. The first skill would make his spider silk much more solid when used together. Skill 2 would allow him to enter a target's body and absorb 15% of its life and magic power. Without hesitation, Kael rushed towards the boss. Now there was a chance. Meanwhile, Alara was still desperately melting the gargoyle debris. Even a powerful hunter like Alara couldn't use Hellfire indefinitely. If this continued, she would be in grave danger. Just as Alara reached her limit, the boss extended its giant hand directly towards her. But at that critical moment, countless strands of spider silk suddenly shot out, binding the boss like a mummy. It was just in time. Everyone watched the scene unfold in disbelief, as Kale urgently called out to Zane. He asked for another attack. He needed Zane to strike while he focused on stopping the core's movement. Zane didn't hesitate, immediately activating his dark magic. The boss was shattered once more. The moment the core appeared, countless threads of spider silk immediately wrapped around it. Sealing it tightly, this blocked any contact between the core and the debris. A round was a success. Shirosaki couldn't believe his eyes. They had actually managed to capture a high-level boss using such low-level items. Everyone cheered at the incredible sight. Not far from the battlefield, Kurosaki and Arita Sara were watching. They planned to jump into action and reap the benefits. However, Sano's sudden use of spider silk had completely unraveled their strategy. "Stop gathering magical power," ordered Arita Sara. "Proceed with the plan. Prepare for combat operations immediately." All the hidden hunters from the Blood Tower Guild began to move. Because of that strange guy, things had taken an unexpected turn. Now, capturing the core would be very troublesome. "It seems I'll have to act personally." As soon as Sano asked who should destroy the core, everyone unanimously agreed. "Since you captured it, you should destroy it." Sano didn't refuse. After all, he really needed that reward. With a swift sword strike, the core shattered instantly. The mobile gargoyle was finally defeated. Instantly, countless level-up notification sounds rang out for everyone. A system notification confirmed. "You have destroyed the mobile gargoyle's core. You have received a reward. The key to close the heart. This key allows you to open the dark door that seals the giant's heart." You also instantly obtained the key to a hidden area. Sano's level jumped from 85 to 285, along with his skill proficiency, reaching level 5, and his profession proficiency hitting level 10. "This is incredible," Sano thought. "With the sword's effect, I'm now at level 285. I'm only 15 levels away from becoming a hunter. Advanced to level 300. Sano laughed triumphantly. Meanwhile, Shirosaki, watching from behind, was completely bewildered. He wondered, isn't he just a level 85 rookie? What's there to be so happy about? He scoffed. Who just helped a rookie capture the boss? Are you kidding me? An advanced hunter like me helping a rookie? You must be seeing things. At that moment, enormous black pillars suddenly erupted from the ground. Everyone looked around in confusion as more identical black pillars continued to appear around them. The pillars were covered with mysterious runes. "Everyone, get out of here, quickly," but it was already too late. The area surrounded by the stone pillars exploded violently. All the nearby hunters were caught in the blast. After the explosion, the guild's hunters were gravely injured. A figure emerged from the smoke and dust. The figure spoke. "In this world, there's truly nothing that money can't accomplish, as long as you abandon your conscience. Victory becomes so simple." He then added, "I've found you," and the figure gave a command. As the king giant foot orb's web began to dissipate from within, Sano immediately burst out. He spotted the masked man holding the Kalisha dragon sword. Sano immediately raised his sword and charged forward. "Hand over the sword," he demanded. However, his attack was like an egg hitting a rock. The masked man simply commented. "You are quite clever," the masked man continued. "Not only did you use the net to defeat the boss, but you also successfully withstood the impact of the explosion. You completely ruined my plan." He brought his sword down on Sano. The sword struck the ground with a violent blow. "Bastard! Stop it!" shouted Nanase, watching the scene anxiously, completely losing her composure. She raised her spear and unleashed her strongest skill, Hell's Fusion. At that moment, Eris noticed her erratic behavior and frantically tried to stop her, but it was too late. A terrifying, infernal fire shot straight towards Kurosaki. When the smoke cleared, everyone was shocked to see Nanase gravely wounded. Instead, seeing this, Shirosaki shouted anxiously, "Quick! Use healing skills." Eris immediately intervened. "Master Shirosaki," he warned, "you cannot use magic. During the explosion just now, the air was filled with toxic gas. This prevents us from properly absorbing magical power. This is the usual trick of the Blood Tower Guild." At that moment, a black liquid began to emerge from the ground. Kurosaki then reappeared in front of everyone, completely unharmed. "That is impossible," someone exclaimed. "It is shadow movement. This guy, actually, can use the highest level skill of the stealth system." Kurosaki approached the dying Sano. He then noticed that the boss key had fallen nearby. Upon picking it up, the key to close the heart was transferred to him, Kurosaki thought. Objective achieved. However, he had no intention of leaving. He grabbed Sano directly by the neck and threw him forcefully against a nearby stone pillar. "This guy has to die here," Kurosaki growled. "My thoughts are the same as yours. I never expected that the one who stole the sword would be a scoundrel like you. With that, he silently activated his web ability, enveloping Kurosaki until he was completely covered. Then, using the web of the King Giant Foot Orb, he activated the Giant Bear Chain skill moments later. The webs grew sharp thorns, wrapping themselves tightly until they formed a large, garlic-shaped bulb. This is the consequence of stealing my sword, but when the web dissolved, Sano was shocked. There was nothing inside. At that moment, Kurosaki appeared from behind him. I was careless. It's the first time I've seen such an ability. If my shadows hadn't been inside as well, I would have died. With that, he prepared to deliver a fatal blow. You madman, do you know my nickname? Everyone used to call me the mobile magic charging station. Even though this is the first time I'm using it like this, there shouldn't be any problems. Are those your last words? Goodbye then. Suddenly, Kurosaki felt an infinite magical power gathering in his body. He didn't know what was happening, but it felt right. Let me finish off the Blood Tower Guild instantly. A huge sphere of light condensed in the air. Kurosaki watched in confusion. Is this really Kurosaki's wide area magic? Where did he get the magical power to unleash a spell on such a massive scale? My shadow movement is being countered. I can't escape. This is problematic. I guess I have no other choice then. Sara, now, understood. Immediately, all the boxes around Sara opened. An immeasurable magical power flew out from the boxes, condensing into a massive orb in the air. A command echoed. Restore the Snow Mountain Labyrinth. Gargoyles to your initial state. Suddenly, the entire Snow Mountain howled with strong winds, instantly becoming covered by terrifying air currents. Fortunately, Kurosaki quickly activated a barrier, protecting everyone inside. Amidst the raging air currents, the gargoyle debris began to slowly gather and reassemble. They've revived again. What is happening? The labyrinth has been initialized. Dense swarms of gargoyles poured out once more. A massive gargoyle clenched its fist, attacking and instantly appearing before Kurosaki. Damn it, there's still poisonous gas here. It interferes with the absorption of magical power. I need to use a barrier to protect everyone. But if I do that, I can't deal with the gargoyles. Hiding in the barrier will only lead to our doom. As Kurosaki struggled with this dilemma, Nanase charged forward, striking the gargoyle directly with a fierce hellfire. Kurosaki was stunned. Hunter Nanase, how can you still use magical power? Didn't you hear what Sano just said? The mobile magic charging station can generate infinite magical energy and share it with his companions. They say this is Sano's unique ability. That's impossible. Only hunters. If that's true, then instead of looking for the giant's heart, we should just invite Sano to join our guild. I don't think they can use that again so soon. We still haven't figured out the hidden labyrinth. There must be some hidden condition we don't know about. They must have done something to make the hidden labyrinth appear, with a 100% probability, but it's still strange. There are definitely fewer gargoyles here now compared to the original Snow Mountain. Anyway, we need to deal with these guys quickly so we can catch up to the Blood Tower Guild. He actually used the Kalicha Dragon Sword skill at the last second. Luckily, I managed to wrap myself in webs at the crucial moment I almost died. But thanks to him, I now know how to draw out the sword's power. Speaking of which, this place is all white, where should I go? Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association in the island nation, President Shinoda, don't worry too much. President Shirosaki of the Future Guild is with them after all. Getting involved with the Blood Tower Guild is always a big problem. We still have very little information on this guy. We've just received a message. The Blood Tower Guild seems to have connections with the Star Stadium Guild. How is that possible? Are you sure you're talking about that Hunter Guild? The world-class Star Stadium? That labyrinth was part of the riots. From the Great Disaster Labyrinth that occurred 15 years ago, the gargoyles that appeared then were more terrifying than any demon from hell. Hunter Nishimoto Tomoka, one of the strongest mages in the world, was the one who sealed it without Hunter Nishimoto's sacrifice. The consequences would have been unimaginable. The heart of the giant sealed in that hidden labyrinth is now receiving global attention. Both the Star Stadium Guild and the Blood Tower Guild are groups that will do anything to achieve their goals, so it's not surprising that they would team up besides Iris. From the International Hunter Association is actually Hunter Nishimoto's daughter this time. She seems to want to investigate the truth behind her mother's death, but Hunter Nishimoto was never officially declared dead. Is that what you're saying? After all these years, could she still be alive? 5 years ago, a survivor actually came out of this labyrinth, he said. He thought he saw the figure of Hunter Nishimoto. The other two were immediately shocked, curiously. This hidden labyrinth has several entrances. At that moment, someone came through the door. President, this is terrible. The labyrinth has turned red. The person immediately turned on the television. The screen showed complete chaos. A labyrinth outbreak had suddenly occurred. In the city center, a large number of citizens were fleeing, and the monsters that appeared were Actually gargoyles from the snowy mountain, what is happening? Meanwhile, in the depths of the snowy mountain, the members of the Blood Tower Guild were advancing steadily. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Kurosaki injured. Will there be problems with our future strategy? That's not for you to worry about. Soon everyone arrived at the hidden labyrinth inside the snowy gargoyle mountain. Shinoda Satoru used stealth skills to follow closely behind them. So this is the hidden area. The members of the Bloody Tower Guild approached the labyrinth's entrance, but they were blocked by an invisible wall. Boss, it seems we can't get through here. We're blocked. The Star Stadium Guild really lives up to its reputation as a world-class guild. The information they provided is completely accurate. This is the masterpiece of Nishimoto Tomoka, the strongest mage hunter from 15 years ago. The giant's heart is sealed here in the hidden labyrinth. Everyone, get ready to break the seal. Don't let your guard down. The members of the Bloody Tower Guild immediately dispersed to take their positions. Arita began preparing the sword for restoration at that moment. Kurosaki seemed to notice someone was following him. Who would be foolish enough to sneak up and follow? The Bloody Tower Guild? Shinoda Satoru was terrified. Have I been discovered? I don't want to die. The next second, Kurosaki raised his sword and struck down. Meanwhile, on the other side of the snowy landscape, a cute little stone was hunting. She found a snow mountain berserk rabbit. These level 30 creatures live near hidden labyrinths, and they often go into a rage from hunger, dropping magic stones when defeated. One hit was all it took. A red magic stone fell immediately. Little Stone quickly ran to pick it up, then fled soon, reaching her master. It turns out her master was Sano. Very well, eat this, said Sano at his command. Little Stone promptly threw the magic stone into her mouth and began to chew. This little stone was created from the core of a previous boss, the moving gargoyle. Injecting magical power into it creates a gargoyle. Its first ability allows it to change its appearance freely. Its second ability allows it to transform into armor to protect its master. The third ability allows the user to share sensations with the gargoyle, including sight and hearing. The higher the level, the wider the range of sharing. Sano looked proudly at the core in his hand. This is amazing, he thought. One core, one gargoyle. If I could somehow copy many of these, I would have an army all to myself. I could raid labyrinths alone in the future, he reflected. A snow mountain gargoyle, when upgraded to level 10, can change shape freely and share senses with its master. At that moment, Little Stone suddenly sensed someone approaching and rushed towards the newcomer. It turns out the newcomer was Shinoda Satoru. Shinoda Satoru saw Sano and hugged him enthusiastically. I thought I'd never see you again, exclaimed Satoru Shinoda. When I realized the Blood Tower Guild had found the hidden labyrinth, I immediately thought of you. The Vasato section, Yulia DVT, Vasato Goda's ticks, from 38 on foot, 17 minutes. I was so scared at that moment. I thought they had discovered me, but then they found another pursuer, probably a future guild member. There's also a girl with them who seems to be accumulating a large amount of magical power. Then they started some kind of ritual. She was responsible for initiating the labyrinth. I thought about stopping her, but I was too scared at the time. I'm so sorry, said Shinoda. You've already done very well, Sano replied. Shinoda continued. By the way, that girl looked very familiar. I felt like I'd seen her before, Shinoda went on. Speaking of which, I wanted to ask, is it okay for that thing to keep following us? Sano laughed. Ah, I forgot to introduce you. This is my little helper. It's so cute, exclaimed Shinoda. I didn't expect Mr. Sano to be a familiar tamer as well. Soon, they arrived at their destination. The hidden labyrinth was just past the bridge. Sano knew that dealing with the Blood Tower Guild would be difficult with just the two of them. Satoru Shinoda, go bring Nanase and Terasaka here, Sano instructed. I'll stay here to monitor them. Satoru Shinoda immediately felt disappointed. He would have to part with Mr. Sano again so soon. To ensure his safety, Sano gave Satoru Shinoda the moving gargoyle's core. From now on, he's your little brother. Don't let his appearance fool you. He's incredibly strong in a battle. Satoru Shinoda was moved to tears. Can you really give me something so precious? He asked. Sano replied. Actually, it's not that precious. I have an unlimited supply of them. Then, Satoru Shinoda left with the core and the small gargoyle, watching them go. Sano immediately took out a new core. He was ready to create a brand new gargoyle. He molded its appearance exactly as he imagined. Soon, a bird-shaped gargoyle was complete. Through sensory sharing, Sano could clearly see Kurosaki and the others. He observed Rita Sera, who was holding the dragon sword calyx. Magical power gushed continuously from the collection boxes around her. She used restoration control to restore the dragon sword's durability. At that moment, the sword's durability was only at 6%. The numbers changed rapidly until they reached 100%. The durability of the dragon sword Calyx was successfully restored. However, using this skill instantly, Arita Zara's stamina was drained. "That's enough!" Kale exclaimed. He enthusiastically picked up the sword from the ground. "Finally, I can use it to my heart's content." Zane couldn't believe what he was seeing. How did she do that? Could the sword's durability really be restored? Could she be a user of cursed abilities just like him? From the information he had, her ability Object Restoration could restore all things to their original state. Zane realized he could copy abilities, but often with many limitations that made them difficult to use, even once they were copied. Zane looked at Arita Zara and secretly made a decision. I need to form an alliance with her first. Meanwhile, Kael held the sword preparing to destroy the seal. He slowly pierced the barrier with the tip of the sword. Immediately, the chains of the seal began to clash and rattle. In the next second, a huge magic circle appeared at Kael's feet. Without the information provided by the Star Stadium Guild, even with this key, we couldn't break the barrier, Kael stated. With that, he inserted the sword into the center of the magic circle. The only thing that can break this seal is this sword. This seal was the masterpiece of Hunter Northwood created 15 years ago. The original owner of the dragon sword Kalicha was her husband. Hunter Northwood had established a barrier that only her husband's sword could break. My husband was Frederick Shaw, the greatest sword master in the world. Kael rotated the sword 90 degrees. Immediately, the magic circle began to transform. A dazzling white light spread continuously from its center. The gargoyles in the air were destroyed by this immense power. They simply couldn't withstand it. Gradually, the power of the barrier began to diminish until it finally dissipated, revealing the true entrance to the hidden labyrinth. The hidden labyrinth of the Gargoyle Snow Mountain finally reappeared after 15 years. It's time to search for our true objective, Kael declared. The giant's heart. Zane watched him enter, then began to struggle with a decision. Should he follow him alone, or wait for reinforcements? This was a huge gamble. A new scene then unfolded in the S-rank labyrinth. To the south, dismembered bodies were everywhere. Only one man was intact nearby. Your target was just me, wasn't it? The man on the ground asked. Why did you kill all of them? The man standing replied, if I only killed you, I would become a murderer. But if I kill everyone, the man continued, it will just be considered an accident in the labyrinth. In the next second, the man on the ground disappeared into a pool of blood. Alpha control. When an ability user dies, their ability is transferred to the next person who can use it. This meant that the man standing there obtained the other's cursed power by killing him. Immediately, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. On his neck, 3 hourglass marks appeared. The red one was clearly new. He immediately sensed his newly acquired power. He used Control+A, Select All, and blue, inverted triangles, instantly appeared above all the dismembered bodies at the scene. Then, Control+X, Cut was activated, targeting everyone. The next second, a huge void opened up in front of him, devouring everything around it. At that moment, an elf man suddenly appeared behind him. It seems your ability has evolved again, the elf observed. Instead of erasing targets one by one, your range has clearly expanded significantly. The man replied, to steal curse abilities, I have to kill the other person. That really bothers me. What frustrates me most is that, even after mastering this ability, it still doesn't evolve, unfortunately. That's the only way to obtain another person's cursed power, unless you find Control+C. We've been searching for Control+C for over 10 years, but there's no news, the elf continued. I'm starting to doubt if Control+C really exists. Believe me, it exists in our dimensional world, the man insisted. And isn't that Control+F guy looking for it? I'm sure we'll hear something soon. Our intelligence indicates that Control+HM is currently with the Blood Tower Guild, the elf explained. They must have already broken through the barrier set by the hunter, Nishimoto. Control+C is important, but you absolutely must obtain the Heart of the Giant. It's a crucial item that will allow you to unleash the full potential of your cursed power. Back in the hidden labyrinth, the group had gathered to explore together. There were no signs of enemies anywhere, no monsters were found, and it was clear their targets hadn't entered long ago. They knew they needed to pick up the pace and catch up, but then, Satoru Shinoda's feet suddenly began to glow. Oh no, it's a magic circle, someone exclaimed. Instantly, everyone inside the circle vanished. Everything happened so suddenly. Sano watched helplessly as they disappeared before his very eyes. Nanase and Sano anxiously ran to the spot. A huge magic circle then lit up on the ground with a dazzling flash of light. And they too were instantly transported. They landed in an unknown place, but Satoru Shinoda and Shirasaki were nowhere to be seen. How is it possible they're not here? We clearly followed them immediately. Just then, a huge monster descended from above, aiming to swallow Sano. Nanase, reacting instantly, rushed forward. She swung her blade at the monster, instantly slicing off its head and successfully resolving the immediate crisis. Why are there dinosaur-type monsters here? I feel like we've been transported to a completely different world. I heard that all the multidimensional labyrinths were destroyed in the Great Disaster 15 years ago. Another one contested. But how else could they explain what was happening? A third person asked, gesturing towards the teleportation magic circles before them. They are important markers of multidimensional labyrinths, creating connections between different, dimensional spaces. Once a circle is activated, a door to another world opens. Could this be the reason why Hunter and Shimoto sealed this place? They wondered. So, Satoru Shinoda and Shirosaki were most likely transported to another world. If we want to reunite with them, we must clear this labyrinth and reach the location of the giant's heart. Then let's begin, they declared. The battle starts now. Meanwhile, in the city center outside the labyrinth, chaos erupted. The labyrinth turned red, and a large number of gargoyles were continuously destroying the urban area as citizens began to flee for their lives. While the hunters were barely holding on, as long as the gargoyles' cores remained intact, they could revive infinitely. To make matters worse, the different, magical power densities between reality and the labyrinth made it difficult for mages to cast spells on a large scale, severely limiting their combat power. Damn that left eye. He's never around when you need him most. If we had his infinite magic power generation ability, this battle would be a piece of cake. Just as the bald warrior found himself in serious danger, a flash of sword light appeared. A blond man cut the gargoyle in half with a single strike. The reason? He had overheard their conversation. He asked, "What is this infinite magic power generation that you mentioned before?" To return the favor, the bald warrior told the blond man everything he knew. "I've never heard of such an ability. Could it really be him?" Suddenly, two massive sources of magical power appeared on the roof of the association building. They were the presidents of the two strongest guilds in the island nation. A huge gargoyle was heading straight for them. "Looks like it's up to us. If we don't act now, the casualties will only get worse." Takeuchi Go immediately leaped into action, activating his stone armor ability. In an instant, Takeuchi Go was covered from head to toe in stone after a loud crash. The transformed Takeuchi Go emerged from the smoke. By then, the gargoyle had already arrived, but with just a light punch, Takeuchi Go shattered it to pieces, so he charged forward with overwhelming momentum. Shiro also began to act, launching a magical bombardment. A brilliant magical energy struck the ground, clearing a path for Kaito to easily reach the boss. The boss swung its enormous fist towards Kaito, but he did not dodge. Instead, he raised his own fist to meet it head-on. One punch, then two. The boss's body gradually cracked. In the next second, it shattered into fragments, revealing a red core. "I won't let that old man claim the boss for himself," he declared. With that, he crushed the core into dust. The uproar in the labyrinth was successfully contained, but while they were still celebrating, the blond man from before had already gathered some information. Control. The target, Kaito, doesn't use control keys. He is truly worthy of being the #1 president of the Island Nations Guild, quelling the labyrinth's uprising in just a few minutes, even without using control keys. Useful information was still gathered. I remember that Control+ should still be in the labyrinth right now. I hope he didn't die in there. Meanwhile, to obtain the giant's heart, members of the Blood Tower Guild ventured into the depths of the hidden labyrinth. Unexpectedly, numerous zombies appeared. A pity they were all weak, compared to the legendary swordsman. Cross simply swung his sword once, eliminating all of them. With the monsters cleared, they moved towards the boss room of the giant puppet heart. Immediately, a dazzling white light erupted from everyone's feet. In the next second, they arrived before a massive stone door. Cross immediately took the key he had acquired earlier and inserted it into the lock. As the door opened, everyone entered. The walls of the room were lined with a row of statues, enormous ones. However, no boss was found anywhere. Only Rita. Sarah felt an indescribable pressure making it hard for her to breathe. Could it be because I'm not a hunter? Just as one of the members was wondering, a huge palm descended with a sickening crack. The unfortunate member was flattened into a paste of flesh. One of the statues had come to life and was now standing before them. Damn it, this statue. It moves. Everyone, be careful. But it was already too late. The surrounding statues had already come to life, encircling the members of the Blood Tower Guild. Rita Sarah froze in shock at this sudden turn of events. This immediately enraged Cross. "What are you doing? Just standing there? Quickly use your restoration skills to save our fallen comrade." Rita Sarah finally realized that she was the team's healer. She immediately ran, grabbing the magical power devices she had collected from her backpack, but was shocked to discover that the magical power was leaking. How was this possible? Even advanced mages couldn't break the seals on these devices. And why was all the magical power flowing in the same direction? The members of the Blood Tower Guild had already started to fight against the statues, but were clearly at a disadvantage. Kurosaki frantically called out to his teammates to use landmines, but something was wrong. Stealth skills and landmines couldn't be activated normally. One of the statues attacked with force. Kurosaki's eyes widened in shock. His teammate had just been killed in a few moments. All the other members of the Blood Tower Guild had perished. Are you kidding me? How is this possible? You damn stones! Kurosaki raised his sword, ready to use a powerful skill. But a notification appeared. User does not possess magical power to release the skill of the Calyx Dragon Sword. The notification left him stunned. While Kurosaki stood there, still confused, the statue's attack was already on its way. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sarah had followed the flow of magical power to a platform where all the magical power was being absorbed by a cube in the center. What was this thing anyway? The moment Sarah touched it, a large ruby heart was revealed. Could this be the giant's heart? But why was it absorbing magical power instead of releasing it? At that moment, the giant's heart suddenly reacted. Sensing danger, Sarah immediately turned and ran, but it was too late. A crimson spike shot out from the heart, piercing her waist. She fell to the ground in agony. The statue walked up to her, raised its blade, and delivered a powerful blow. At this critical moment, Kurosaki used Shadow Step to arrive just in time, blocking the attack meant for Sarah. He immediately took out a high-quality healing potion, spraying it on her wound. Then he picked her up, planning to leave immediately. However, a notification sounded. The giant's heart has been activated. Now preparing for the boss battle. The door began to close slowly. Kurosaki immediately tried to activate Shadow Step, but another notification appeared. User does not have sufficient magical power to activate the skill. Shadow Step. What kind of joke was this? How had all his magical power vanished? If they didn't escape, they would be dead. At this rate, they would both be trapped in here. Damn it, there was no other choice. Kurosaki grabbed Sarah, throwing her towards the exit with all his might. She slid harshly across the floor. Because you chose to save me. As long as you are alive, you can restore everything, right? You idiot. I'm not a hunter. Where am I supposed to find that much magical power? When she opened her eyes again, she saw Zane appear before her. It was this guy. He seemed to be able to share his magical power with others. And Zane did exactly that, constantly transmitting magical power to her. If you have enough magical power, you should be able to heal your wounds, right, Rita? She looked at Zane with eyes wide in shock. How did he know about her ability? A few minutes later, a healed Rita was sitting quietly nearby with her hands tied. As a prisoner and healer of the Blood Tower Guild, she had suffered fatal injuries, but she recovered completely so quickly. We need to thoroughly investigate her past when we get back. What should we do now? We worked so hard to get here, but we can't even open the door. There's no other way. To open it from the outside, we'll need a key. Does this mean we'll be trapped here forever? That's why so many people disappeared around here. Zane was still struggling with the thought. What should I do? Actually, I copied that key. But how could he explain that? He decided he would just make something up. Zane then took out the key. But at that moment, Eris stepped forward and gently touched the door with her hand. Surprisingly, her arm passed right through it. Both the door and Eris's tunic lit up with runes, identical ones. The next second, the door simply swung open. It turns out the tunic belonged to Eris's mother. It seemed to resonate with the door, allowing it to open. Zane overheard their conversation. He realized that Eris was truly the key to this labyrinth. He thought that if he ever got the chance, he absolutely had to investigate this multidimensional labyrinth with her. According to Rita's information, everyone, quickly, realized that their magical power was draining rapidly. The Great Heart was continuously absorbing it. It was then that the statues from before reappeared. Zane immediately began to cast spells. Control, he commanded. Copy magical power. Control 5 to paste it. He continuously used Control 5 for an infinite paste. Suddenly, countless skill dialogue boxes filled the entire area. A terrifying magical power erupted from Zane's body, quickly, filling the entire room. Even the giant heart's absorption speed couldn't keep up with how fast he was generating magic. Rita watched the scene in total disbelief. She thought that, if she could combine her ability with his, she could restore her parents to normal. And now, having recovered her magical power, immediately rushed towards a statue, and with a single swift strike, he sliced it in half at the waist. Shirazaki was not about to be outdone. He raised his staff and unleashed dark magic, shadowy lightning bolts, instantly destroying the nearest statue. In that moment, more statues surrounded him. Shirazaki grew even more excited. "Let me use you all," he declared, "to vent this terrible mood I've been in lately." He then cast a massive dark magic spell, destroying the statues instantly. Just then, Aritasara spotted Kurosaki. He was sitting on the ground, covered in wounds and barely clinging to life. Aritasara was about to move forward to help, but Sano got there first. "I didn't expect you to end up here," Sano said. He then picked up the dragon sword Kalaya from the ground. "I've finally recovered it," he thought. And surely enough, its durability was fully restored. He wondered how he could copy his mobility. Sano decided to first try copying Kurosaki's shadow movement. A message appeared. "Copy failed. The target's level is higher than yours." Just as Sano was about to give up, another message box appeared. "The target holds strong hostility towards you. In this situation, you have 2 ways to obtain the skill. 1. Kill the opponent and gain their skill. 2. Forcibly absorb the target's skill. This is only possible when the target's health points are below 15%. After absorption, the target will lose this skill," Sano thought. "So, skills can be absorbed like this. In that case, with his current condition, I can absorb it by force." After a while, Kurosaki also approached. "We have some very important questions to ask you." Kurosaki then released Aritasara's bonds. As the healing ability activated, Kurosaki's arm began to regenerate. The next second, he awoke. "It seems my decision wasn't wrong," Kurosaki muttered. Immediately, his hands were bound once again. "You'd better behave," someone warned. "Or don't blame me if I get rough." "Understood. But first, we need to get out of here alive. This labyrinth has only just begun." Suddenly, the giant heart on the platform launched another beam of light. It was blinding. Kurosaki quickly ducked to dodge. He then fled quickly as the beam shot straight for Nanase, instantly destroying the entire area around her. Seeing this, Shinoda Satoru rushed forward at that moment. The heart fired another beam directly at Shinoda Satoru. At the critical moment, Little Stone charged forward at full speed. The next second, an explosion ripped through the air. When the smoke cleared, a figure emerged. It was Shinoda Satoru, was completely covered in a stone armor, which was the transformed form of Little Stone, and Nanase was also behind him, looking disheveled. Someone exclaimed, "You two have merged! You really managed to level up in such a short time. No matter how many times I see it, it really looks like Master Taguchi's stone armor ability." Rewind half an hour. Kurosaki and Satoru Shinoda were transported to a multidimensional labyrinth. Kurosaki's powerful dark magic instantly eliminated the monsters there, which even dropped a large number of rubies that Little Stone found very appetizing. With Kurosaki's permission, Little Stone sat down and began to chew voraciously. Just like that, Little Stone leveled up. Its status read, Snowy Mountain Gargoyle, now at level 2, can grow up to level 10, currently possesses freeform shapeshifting level 2, and the ability to share feelings with its master. Level 2. Little Stone, you're amazing. You really leveled up. Back to the present, the giant heart's attacks grew increasingly fierce. They were so powerful that even the protective barrier of Kurosaki eventually shattered. These beams are made of high-density magical power. Common defensive magic simply can't hold up against them. At that moment, a furious Nen charged forward. He showed no fear, swinging his sword, directly to split the beam that was about to hit him. Since the beam's density is so high, it can actually be split with a sword, but even by doing that, we still can't get close. As long as I generate magical power, the giant heart will continue, absorbing it and firing beams. But if I stop generating magical power, our own power will be quickly drained. Either way, it's a dead end. There's only one way left. Let me try my newly acquired skill, Shadow Movement. If I use its ability to move through the Spider Silk shadows and combine it with Control+5, activating Spider Silk. Giant King Sano wrapped himself in spider silk and instantly vanished from his spot, leaving only a single trail of silk behind. Mel, who was beside him, looked confused. Where did he go? A human-shaped shadow appeared behind the giant heart. Sano emerged from it, immediately placing his hand on the heart. He planned to destroy it using inherent vibration. However, he underestimated its intelligence. The heart used magical power to create an explosion, instantly blasting Sano backward until he coughed up blood. Who do you think you are? This is the magical power I gave you, remember? Control+5. Activate Giant King, Spider Silk. Immediately, enormous amounts of spider silk formed, continuously wrapping the giant heart until it was encased in a large cylinder. Just when everyone thought they had succeeded, projectiles shot out from inside again, It's not over yet. Control+5. Super Double Giant King Spider Silk. Several projectiles flew past Zane this time. I just need to touch it. The moment he made contact, he wrapped it up again. Control+5. Use the skill's inherent vibration, and utilize resonance to destroy the target. As the giant heart shattered, a brilliant light emerged. A system message appeared. You have destroyed the giant's heart. Labyrinth conquest successful. In the next second, countless level-up notification boxes appeared before his eyes. He looked at them with great joy. Congratulations. You have obtained this conquest reward. Giant's Heart, Level 1. Upgradable. Skill 1. Can generate magical power infinitely. Skill 2. Can absorb or store a certain amount of magical power. This is a continuously upgradable skill. Looking at the description, Zane suddenly felt that this seemed useless to him. Then, another notification appeared. Control+C has been upgraded. It can automatically copy copyable objects. It can self-copy. This is simply amazing. Senior Zane, you're absolutely incredible. Don't get close to me. I'm not into men. At that moment, Whitaker approached with a serious expression. Congratulations on obtaining the giant's heart, he said. After we get back, I would like to have a word with you. If you want the giant's heart, I can sell it to you for a high price. Whitaker became extremely excited by the offer. After some rest and reorganization, Zane returned the colossal dragon sword to Ares. Suddenly, Mal took a step forward. You just used an advanced skill from the Blood Tower Guild, he asked. You moved a great distance just now. Zane immediately broke into a cold sweat. He quickly came up with an excuse. I used spider silk to pull myself forward quickly. Mal was about to say more, but Nina interrupted him. Asking about someone's skills is very rude, she stated. Come on. We still need to hurry and investigate those two people. As they walked, Blackwood spoke quietly to Rita Sarah. It's time for you to repay the life debt you owe me, he said. Go reset the labyrinth. Are you sure? Rita Sarah asked. This is the last time. It's because of that boy with the magical power, Blackwood replied. Just don't forget the contract, or I'll get a headache. The Adam Oath contract is a permanent bond. In other words, you can never betray your partner as long as you have it. You can never leave me. Remember, if your parents are in my hands, I used my own life to save you back then. Now it's your turn to repay me. This place must have enough magical power. Start now in the second. Next, the magical power began to gather around Arita Sara. She then activated her control ability. Sano saw this and immediately turned around, shouting for everyone to get out quickly. The maze is about to restart, he shouted. He then used the shadow movement. He appeared instantly beside Arita Sara. Wait, why are you doing this? He asked. Sorry, she replied. As soon as the magical power was activated, the entire maze began to undergo impressive changes. Shirosaki and Ares immediately raised protective barriers, shielding everyone as they ran towards the exit. They managed to escape just as the maze was about to close, reaching the city above and out of the maze. At that moment, the exit of the maze closed completely. Shinoda Satoru shouted anxiously, "They are still inside." Meanwhile, inside the maze, things had not yet completely normalized. Kurosaki had already freed himself from his restraints holding his sword. He approached slowly, asking what is happening. The maze has not completely normalized. This guy pulled me while I was activating the ability, Arita Sara explained. So, the reset was cancelled halfway, pondered Kurosaki. I see it doesn't matter anyway. The others are already gone, Kurosaki continued. As long as I get the heart of the giant, everything will be fine. Sano glared furiously at his opponent. He planned to use the ability of the giant Spider King. However, in the next second, Sano looked, incredulously, at a dialogue box that appeared. It read, "Unable to find the object. What does this mean?" Sano wondered. It's useless. Kurosaki explained. What was reset was not just the maze, it was you too. Upon hearing this, Sano immediately opened his information panel. It showed Sano level 1 skill, proficiency level 1%, both Control+C and Control+V had returned to their initial state. Wait, what is this? Sano noticed his panel also showed unconfirmed object. It was copied, can be pasted in the next second. A sword gleam shone, blood splattered Kurosaki, cut directly into Sano, severely injuring him. Goodbye, brat, Kurosaki mocked. He then swung his sword again, but at that moment, another sword blocked Kurosaki's attack. It was Mal who had also been left behind. Mal seemed to be no match for Kurosaki. Kurosaki smiled maliciously after several rounds of fighting. Mal was quickly defeated as Kurosaki landed a powerful kick, sending him flying. Kurosaki advanced, ready to deliver a fatal blow to Mal, but Sano threw himself in the way. Taking the blow, he fell heavily to the ground. Mal looked at Sano in disbelief. He's my prey. I don't need your help. "Get out of here!" exclaimed Mal. However, before he could finish speaking, Kurosaki sliced him in half from behind. Everyone watched the scene in disbelief. Sano had just died. I knew only he himself would be reset. Kurosaki sneered. But the items on him are still here. I'm the only person you can trust. Don't look at me with that expression, Kurosaki added. He's like this because you restored him to his initial state. I'm sure he'll thank you in the next life. The next second, a flash of a sword gleamed, and Kurosaki's wrist was sliced. He let out a painful scream as Sano appeared completely unharmed right in front of him. I'm back again, announced Sano. It turns out the copy of me wasn't reset. He explained that at the moment of death, a skill automatically activated Control+V. The skill was Paste Myself. Everyone looked on in disbelief. What is happening? Kurosaki shouted. I clearly cut him in half with my own hands. What kind of skill is this? You bastard! What exactly are you? At that moment, Control+V giant king spider silk immediately enveloped Kurosaki. He tried to use shadow movement to escape. However, a system message appeared. This skill has been removed and cannot be used. Kurosaki's eyes widened at the notice in the dialogue box. Too many unbelievable things were happening before him. Sarah, do it again. Reset him one more time, he demanded of Rita Sarah. However, she no longer wanted to be his accomplice. Have you forgotten our contract? Kurosaki growled furiously. Move it. If you don't want to die, the consequences will be severe. At that instant, the contract bracelet on Rita Sarah's wrist pulsed with electric currents, threatening her if she didn't obey his orders. Sano noticed this sudden change. So that's why you're bound by a contract bracelet, he pondered. With a single step, Sano instantly appeared beside Rita Sarah. Nimbly grabbing her wrist, he activated Control+6 inherent vibration. The contract bracelet shattered into pieces. The shackles on Arya's heart seemed to break, along with the bracelet, freeing her. From that moment on, she was completely free from Kurosaki's control forever. Now you can no longer command anyone, Sano declared firmly. Go to hell in despair, you bastard. The next second, Sano used his movement skill, Shadow Step, to instantly appear in front of Kurosaki without warning. Today, I will use your own ability to kill you, he promised with conviction. Kurosaki immediately disconnected. Disappearing from sight, Sano picked up the giant's heart from the ground with disdain. How many people did you kill for this thing? He wondered aloud, outraged. You have no right to possess it at all. He then used a skill to crush the giant's heart to dust. A system message appeared on the screen. You have destroyed a high-level reward item. Congratulations on the achievement. You have obtained a unique and valuable treasure. Inside the Japan Hunter Association building, a group of people was discussing the recent labyrinth incident. It was discovered that the Gargoyle's Snowy Mountain Labyrinth was, in fact, a multidimensional labyrinth. This was alarming, because the great disaster from 15 years ago was preceded by the explosion of similar multidimensional labyrinths. They did not expect them to reappear, especially with the Western Hunter's seal also being lifted. This was a serious matter that required immediate and urgent attention. However, the 7 hunters present did not seem interested in the ongoing discussion. They just wanted to leave as soon as possible, prioritizing the investigation of the Blood Tower members. To them, multidimensional labyrinths were an unsolvable problem at the current time. This dismissive attitude deeply angered Takushitsuna. He scoffed. How impressive, indeed. Do you think we did nothing while you were away, by any chance? He then stood up and walked directly toward Sano. I heard you conquered the labyrinth. If you have such an ability, why have I never heard of you before? He insisted. Who exactly are you, anyway? Sano calmly replied. I am just an ordinary hunter. What are you planning to do now? He continued to speak. We not only conquered the labyrinth, but also discovered a multi-dimensional one, a very dangerous one. Although it may not be a groundbreaking achievement, it certainly doesn't justify this kind of disrespectful treatment. Don't you agree, Master Takushitsuna, with what I'm saying? Takushitsuna narrowed his eyes. You are interesting, actually knowing my identity and still daring to speak to me in that tone of voice. In an instant, he activated his impressive stone armor ability. The people nearby immediately panicked at the sudden display of power. Fortunately, the president of the Hunters Association was there and quickly intervened to calm the disturbance. Takushitsuna backed down, reluctantly, and left the meeting room displeased. The scene then shifted to the office of the Hunters Association president. The president explained, I was once a member of the Great Sages Guild myself, but I left for certain personal reasons. He then added, I represent all hunters in wholeheartedly thanking you for your contribution this time. Sano was clearly happy to be recognized by President Tomiwa with a smile. Besides, Sano Ari declared her intention to return to the Hunters Association to report the matter. Mal, however, announced that she planned to stay here for a while. On my own, I plan to leave the International Hunters Association, she declared firmly. That night, everyone gathered at Sano's house for a talk. Sano asked, "What are you all doing at my house so late at night?" Mal replied, "I'm no longer a member of the International Hunters Association. As you know, I have nowhere else to stay, so I'll just borrow a place at your house for a while." "Mal, why are you doing this after all?" Sano insisted curiously. "I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that right now," she replied regretfully. Another person chimed in, "I came to hang out with Sano. No dad around, of course." Then another said, "I'm only here to convey Arita-Sara's request, and nothing more. Don't group me in with them, please." They explained that Kurosaki was still in a coma, because Arita-Sara refused to use her healing ability. As soon as Kurosaki woke up, she would be transferred to prison for interrogation. Arita-Sara herself was currently being held in the Hunters Association's interrogation room. She maintained complete silence, with her only request being to meet Sano in person. They also mentioned that Arita-Sara was a member of a famous female idol group. "I think she was forced into it," someone speculated with concern. "I destroyed her contract bracelet so she shouldn't have any ties to Kurosaki anymore." Sano decided, "I will go to the association to see her later without fail." He then turned to another guest. "By the way, Master Shirosaki, why are you in my room too?" Shirosaki answered, "I am here for only a single reason." However, Mal, who was standing beside him, quickly interrupted. "If you want the giant's heart, don't even think about it. It's useless. The hunter, Sano, already destroyed it in the labyrinth," Mal declared with conviction. This statement shocked everyone in the room, without exception. "Are you crazy?" someone exclaimed in bewilderment. "Why would you destroy such a rare and valuable item?" But in the next moment, the giant's heart suddenly appeared in Sano's hand. To everyone's surprise, Sano calmly explained, "What I destroyed in the labyrinth was actually a fake." He thought to himself that it was just a copy, although it was practically indistinguishable from the real thing. Mal stared in disbelief at the heart in Sano's hand, completely shocked. "That's impossible," he insisted in disbelief. "I can confirm that what was destroyed back then was the real heart, without a doubt." Both Shirosaki and Nave immediately offered astronomical prices to obtain the giant's heart. Shirosaki's astronomical offer of $20 billion finally sealed the deal. Later that night, Sano was happily contemplating the fortune that would soon be his. With joy, he wondered, "If I just used my ability to copy several giants' hearts and auction them off on the foreign black market, I would become rich instantly." The thought made him incredibly excited and euphoric. What a great achievement this was. Indeed, his level had already reached over 300, and he had also received a unique reward. The item was currently sealed, but it could be unsealed by injecting magical power into it. Curious, Sano immediately injected a large amount of magical power into the object. Suddenly, a triangular item appeared before him. It was a dimensional fragment, 1/5 of the complete whole. If you collect all the dimensional fragments, you can synthesize a dimensional key. This key will open the door to any existing dimension. These fragments also had the ability to attract each other. Sano looked at the item in great confusion. This thing seems useless now, and what's worse, it can't even be copied at all. How am I supposed to collect the other fragments then? At that moment, Mal entered. "There's something I need to confirm with you," Mal said seriously, then quickly drew his longsword. Sano immediately panicked at the sight. "What on earth are you doing?" Sano shouted. But Mal didn't answer, remaining silent instead. He raised his sword to strike with force. He plunged it towards Sano's heart, and blood gushed out. 15 years ago, during the Great Disaster in Europe, a terrible giant beast devastated the city. It was a lesser horned dragon level 500 or higher, and incredibly powerful. Its abilities were said to be equivalent to those of greater horned dragons. This monster was of the fire attribute, so mages were advised to use ice magic against it. One mage flew forward with agility, and after several flips and dodges he reached a spot behind the horned dragon. Raising his magic circle, he immediately unleashed powerful ice magic. However, several ice stakes were blocked by the dragon's wings. They were completely ineffective, and instead, the dragon's impact pushed him back several meters with force. "Damn it, where did this superclass monster even come from?" the mage cursed. "We're no match for it at all. It's impossible." The lesser horned dragon then opened its mouth and unleashed massive, devastating flames. The scorching flames quickly engulfed the nearest hunters, without mercy. Soon the massive flames caused huge explosions throughout the city, destroying everything. Hunters watching from afar were so scared that they turned and fled. The entire city seemed to have been plunged into hell with no escape. As a newly awakened rookie hunter, I felt completely doomed without hope. At that moment, a man suddenly appeared before me, giving hope to my desperate heart. It was the world's greatest hunter, Frederick Shu, in person. "Thank you for saving me," I thought in relief. However, in the next second, Frederick was swallowed whole by the lesser horned dragon. Only half of his body remained. I was pale with fear and sat limply on the ground without any strength. At that moment, the lesser horned dragon seemed to undergo a strange mutation. Painful roars echoed throughout the land. Frighteningly, its entire body began to swell. Finally, its body exploded in a massive and devastating blast. Huge shockwaves swept away everything around it, without mercy. At that moment, the man appeared again, once again standing in front of me. I was completely shocked. "Are you really okay?" I exclaimed, in surprise. "I saw it clearly, with my own eyes just now." "What happened?" I looked to where the corpse had been, but only a few black embers remained scattering in the wind. "Frederick, I told you not to use that move in front of strangers," an annoyed voice scolded. Only then did I realize there was a female mage standing right behind me, watching everything. She was the one who saved me from the explosion with her magic. It was an emergency, and this was the fastest way to defeat that terrible monster. The scales of the Netherhorn dragon are incredibly tough, and normal attacks had no effect. If we had left it alone, this country would have been completely destroyed. You saw that, right? I hope you can help me keep this secret, please. Gradually, hunters began to approach the area out of curiosity. Seeing this, Frederick turned to leave goodbye. "Then I hope that when we meet again, you will have become a great hunter." I hurried and introduced myself with a bit of nervousness. "I am Mal Grant, of the Grant family. I am a newly awakened hunter with new abilities. Please remember me. I will remember you, Mal Grant." A hunter with an ability that transcends death itself. This was the greatest hunter in the world. Frederick Shaw, without a doubt, however. What I did not expect was that after his disappearance, I would find someone with the same ability. I know this is hasty, but I want to personally verify if my guess is correct indeed. Raising his hand, he swung the blade, stabbing towards Zane. The moment Zane died, his body turned to ash and scattered in the air. Then Zane revived, appearing behind Mal to his surprise. "Why did you kill me after all?" Mal let out a sigh of relief, proving his guess was correct. "I am so sorry. But no matter what, I wanted to see this ability with my own eyes. Weren't you afraid that your guess was wrong? And what if I had actually died for real?" At that moment, Kenji Sato appeared at the door, witnessing the entire scene in shock. "Why are you still here? This is getting more and more troublesome, don't you think?" After some explanations and apologies, Mal decided to serve alongside Zane as a form of compensation then. So a resurrection from death ability really exists. That is incredible. That is why the senior is so powerful. This left Kenji Sato extremely excited and curious. Let us put that aside for now. "By the way, Ares, you have not gone home yet. How did you get back?" "It is because of this thing here." Zane looked surprised at the item in Ares' hand, dimensional fragments. They possess the ability to attract each other while Ares was on his way home. The fragment he was carrying suddenly reacted, following its guidance. He returned here immediately. The fragment in Zane's hand was number 5, the one in Ares' hand was number 1. Mine is a unique reward I obtained by destroying the giant's heart, and mine is an heirloom from my mother, according to the notes that she let the fragments attract each other, and now it has been confirmed. This means it will be easier to obtain other fragments in the future for sure. By the way, what exactly is this thing for? What happens if you collect all the fragments? You can synthesize a key to the dimensional gate. Is it like the multidimensional labyrinth we experienced this time? Exactly. If you possess this key, you can move freely in multidimensional space. So, you came to Japan not only to find your mother, but also to gather information about dimensional fragments. I believe my parents are still alive in another dimension, somewhere out there. I think so too. I don't believe they would die so simply. This means they might be trapped in another dimension. Or there's a reason they can't return. If that's the case, what kind of reason would that be? It could be something more terrifying than the great disaster from 15 years ago. Who knows? In any case, as long as we have the dimensional key, we can close multidimensional labyrinths and prevent great disasters. But how does this thing become a key anyway? At that moment, the small stone gently and delicately touched the fragment. Instantly, the edges of the two fragments pulled toward each other. Then they emitted a dazzling, brilliant light. After the light faded, the fragments were completely united, forming a single piece. So that's how they connect. How interesting. The resonance between them was even more intense than before, much stronger. Meanwhile, at the European headquarters of the Starfall Guild, the elven man suddenly noticed his dimensional fragment reacting. A sinister smile spread across his face. "It seems I can finally go home," he thought with satisfaction. At that moment, a white-haired man suddenly appeared behind him. "What are you laughing about?" the white-haired man asked curiously. "The Blood Tower Guild hasn't responded yet. It seems the mission failed, unfortunately." Upon seeing the other person, the elven man immediately knelt in respect. "Lord Michael," the elf said, Congratulations on finally obtaining Control+C. Now you can move freely without restrictions. You've taken another step on the path to becoming a transcendent. Congratulations. Currently, I can only use it for short-distance movement, Michael replied calmly. I need to use Control+C to make it evolve. But rest assured, that can be accomplished very soon. The dimensional fragments just resonated. Two of them must have connected. For sure, the one in my hand will tell us where the other pieces are. So, you mean you can go home soon? The elf man asked. By the way, your world has a dimensional key, right? Yes, it does, Michael calmly clarified. However, it's currently impossible to open the dimensional gate from the other side, for now. 15 years ago, it was all because of that damn mage, the Western Hunter. All the dimensional gates connected to Bluestar were completely sealed. The key, multi-dimensional key in Bluestar, was also split into 5 pieces and sealed in different places. As soon as we collect these fragments and lift the seal, the dimensional gate will open again. Then we can go to my homeland, Fairyland, Michael continued to explain. We will certainly open the dimensional gate to the sacred world tree. There's a reward similar to the control seal waiting for us. If you absorb it, it will greatly benefit you in many ways. Sounds good, the elf man said with interest. But is that really the same as the real control key? Michael scoffed. You were also very surprised when you first saw my ability. Do you think I don't know what you're ultimately after? Your homeland is the land of the elves. Your world tree was contaminated hundreds of years ago. It's now called the Shadow Tree. Unfortunately, worst of all, it's now on the brink of destruction. Total destruction. During the Great Disaster 15 years ago, Bluestar and the elf dimension overlapped for the first time. You elves tried to transfer the source of contamination to Bluestar, but the Western Hunter stopped you. So what exactly do you want, after all? Michael pressed, curious. Will the elves continue their failed plan to reconnect the two worlds? Even so, you're using me to achieve your own goals. Is that it? The elf man immediately broke into a cold, nervous sweat. He felt extremely guilty. Just as he was about to make excuses, the white-haired man suddenly spoke. Actually, I don't care about that at all. I just want to use you to open more worlds, multi-dimensional worlds, and absorb more abilities, becoming like those transcendents. I don't really care what happens to this world. From now on, I will act on my own. Hearing this, the elf man immediately panicked. You can't leave yet, Sir Michael, the elf man exclaimed, worried. You're the leader of the Star Stadium Guild, after all. If you leave without a proper reason, you might attract some unwanted attention. I have certainly considered that possibility, Michael stated calmly. Without hesitation, I then ordered Lucas to execute Plan B immediately. As soon as the preparations are complete, we will have reason enough to let him act freely. Meanwhile, in Japan, Sano took Satoru Shinoda and Mao to conquer a high-level dungeon. Called the Forest of Death, their target was the Knoll, a level 90 monster that was a fusion of a fairy and a wolf, a peculiar creature. Although its individual combat capability was low, they were very intelligent and usually appeared in packs, making them very dangerous. Sano, Shinoda said nervously. Isn't this a bit much for us? We're only 3. How could we retreat so easily like this? Sano scoffed. This is a great place to really farm experience. He began to provoke the nearby gnolls with great enthusiasm. What are you waiting for, after all? Come and attack me now. This immediately enraged the opponents. Without delay, Satoru Shinoda was nearly in tears. Sano-senpai, what are you doing? My god. The next second, all the gnolls charged forward. Sano gripped the controller, a +5/1, and used a gargoyle core to summon a gargoyle. He continued using the skill. Quickly summoning an entire army of gargoyles, they charged directly toward the gnolls without hesitation. Satoru Shinoda and Mao watched the scene with great astonishment. How does Senpai have so many cores like that? It's unbelievable, Mao wondered. Sano just smiled smugly. Let's enjoy this performance, he said with an amused air. What exactly is his skill? He can really summon so many gargoyles. It's impressive. Soon both sides were locked in a battle. Fierce and intense, the gargoyle army advanced with overwhelming force instantly, tossing a large group of gnolls into the air. They look like a gang of delinquents, Sano pondered amusedly. My little stone must never learn from them in any way. The battle ended quickly. Without delay, Sano crouched down and affectionately petted a gargoyle. Thank you for your hard work, he said gratefully. Then he collected them and opened his system inventory to check something important. I don't have enough space to create a gargoyle squadron, he murmured thoughtfully. Forget it. I don't want to think about it now at all. It's time to finally go see Arisara. Soon a Mercedes G-Class was speeding down the road quickly. I didn't expect you to have a car, one of his companions commented. Yes, it's true. This is a birthday present my father bought for me, Sano just replied with a smile. Oh right, his companion said, he thought, remembering I almost forgot that this guy is the prince of the Great Sages Guild. What a fool. They would soon arrive at the Hunters Association interrogation room. Shortly after, inside, only Rita Sierra was sitting in silence. Calmly, she had not eaten for 3 days straight. No matter what they asked her, she remained in absolute silence, only saying that she wanted to see Sano. Our conversation can be held in private. Please? Sano asked. I'm sorry. An officer replied with regret. Given the nature of this investigation, we cannot grant your request. Unfortunately, Sano thought. Then I'll have to try using Control+. To undo this later on my own. He carefully brought a cup of water inside. Thirsty, right? We'll talk after you drink, Sano said gently. Rita Sierra looked at him, then took the cup, and drank it all in one go. You want to know what my ability is exactly, don't you? She asked. It's no secret. My ability is the infinite generation of mana, she revealed calmly. If you can help me, I will cooperate with your investigation without any problems. But before that, I need to confirm something important with you. You have the ability to restore everything, called Control+, right? She asked curiously. Yes, a cursed ability, Sano confirmed with a sigh. I knew I wasn't the only cursed one, she pondered thoughtfully. Sano realized. In other words, I can copy and paste her ability. This means I can copy and paste any control-type ability, in the future, with ease. The conversation inside surprised those listening from the outside, who were shocked. Restoration? Curse? Control+? What on earth are they talking about? They wondered in confusion. Do abilities like that really exist? Apparently, yes. That girl's ability isn't healing, it's actually restoration. No wonder the durability of the Talier dragon sword was restored. Someone realized in surprise. Rita, Sierra continued, my parents are in a coma. Unfortunately, I need a massive amount of mana to restore them, and you're the only one who can provide such an enormous amount of mana. Please help me, she pleaded desperately. Understood, Sano replied seriously. I can provide you with as much mana as you need, no problem. In exchange, I need you to. He placed his hand on her handcuffs with a purpose. Everyone outside looked confused and intrigued. What on earth was Sano trying to do? In the next second, the sound of an explosion echoed. Sano activated. Control+C. Copy target ability. However, the system unexpectedly reported that the copy was impossible. Sano was confused. Why is this happening? He wondered. He had already considered that some abilities might be uncopyable, but he never expected to encounter one today. Damn it, why is my luck so bad today? Sarah looked down at her hand, which he was gripping tightly. She felt confused and asked, What are you doing? Sano then realized what he was doing and quickly released her hand. Suddenly, a red dialog box appeared. It said, Control+C, special abilities cannot be copied. However, if you eliminate the target, you can absorb it. Fulfilling this condition allows the ability to be copied. Naturally, Sano felt extremely dejected upon seeing such a cruel rule. I can't just kill someone for a skill, he thought. Is there no other way? Maybe I could wait for her to die of old age, and then absorb it. Outside, everyone was watching, intrigued by what was happening inside. What was Sano-senpai doing? Nanise couldn't take it anymore. She quickly asked what was going on inside. Sano answered in a hurry. Sorry, I was just lost in thought. Everything is going smoothly here. He then decided. Forget it. I'll help wake up her parents first to earn her trust. Maybe I'll find a better way soon. If not, I can still cooperate with her. That same afternoon, everyone gathered at the Hunter Center Hospital. Many people were attacked by mysterious creatures during the Great Disaster, resulting in mana poisoning. This hospital was the only one that accepted such patients. Sano considered, this is why I needed to cooperate with Kurosaki. I need a lot of money for the treatment. He then wondered. Kurosaki is also receiving treatment here now, isn't he? Yes, he's in the underground facility. Someone replied. As soon as he wakes up, he'll be taken to prison for investigation. At that instant, a man walked past them. Sano wondered, why is that guy here? It was Lucas, the one who uses Control+F. The scene then shifted to Lucas as he arrived at the underground facility. 2 guards quickly moved forward to stop him. This is a restricted area, they announced. Unauthorized entry is forbidden. Lucas confidently pulled out a small card. Thanks for your hard work, he said. This is my pass. However, what was actually written on the card was Control+F. In the next second, the text began to change, and numerous dark energies emerged from the card, quickly attacking the 2 guards and soon swallowing them completely. After this baptism of dark energy, the 2 guards were completely controlled. They became mindless puppets. Lucas walked straight in, making his way to Kane. Then he took out a strange orb. Its surface was wrapped in purple leaves, and it continuously emitted dark energy. "Lucas, there is something only you can do," said a voice. "If the Blood Tower Guild fails, I want you to plant this all over the city." When Lucas saw it, he instinctively felt disgusted and quickly backed away. "This is a fruit brought from my homeland," the voice continued. "A fruit from a filthy, contaminated tree. Using this fruit as a catalyst, we can open a subspace." "Well, you may not know what a subspace is," the voice added. "Let me show you." The scene that unfolded before Lucas's eyes then filled him with terror. The elfman's fruit had already opened a portal. The space above was torn apart, revealing a terrifying giant beast within. Back in the present, Lucas looked at the purple fruit in his hand and thought, that guy wants to turn the entire city into a living hell. Damn it. I need to save the people first. They're too connected to my family. Now is not the time to back down. Upstairs, in the hospital room, Iris's parents had successfully recovered. Silas was moved to tears by the heartwarming scene. Nina suddenly got an idea after witnessing this miraculous restoration ability. It's truly more powerful than the strongest healers. I must find a way to keep this girl in the association. By the way, where did Mal go? Meanwhile, in the hospital hallway, Lucas had already woken up Kane and was leading him outside. Just then, a system dialog box popped up. In front of Lucas, it read, "Control type ability user detected nearby." Kane was surprised to hear this. He wondered if Iris was coming to see her parents and if that other guy was with her too. Suddenly, Mal appeared behind them. "Lucas, is that really you? I almost didn't recognize you. And Kane, you're really awake. I heard you left the Hunters Association. What are you doing here now?" "Helping him escape. You're an accomplice now," Mal continued, drawing his weapon. Lucas watched. "You're as reckless as ever, I see. Have you forgotten this is a hospital?" "Let me handle this," Mal retorted. "I'm going to teach him a lesson and show him that he's powerless." Just then, Sam appeared behind Mal, using Shadow Step. "I'm here too," he announced it with his mouth hanging open. "You bastard! That is my ability." The unique skill of Lucas intervened. Control+E and Control+5, users detected. Target directly ahead. "I finally found you. Control+," Lucas exclaimed. This was truly troublesome. One thing after another. First Kurosaki. And now, even an international criminal had appeared. When the newcomer Nanase revealed his weapon, Lucas and Sano were frightened. "That's the witch's blade," someone gasped. Nanase muttered to himself, thinking, "Today is truly a terrible day. I have to work overtime wherever I go." The sight of Nanase with a weapon immediately drew curious onlookers. "Isn't that Hunter Nanase? Why is he carrying a weapon in the hospital?" the people whispered. Nanase calmly addressed the situation. "Look, this is a hospital. Can't we resolve this peacefully?" He then pulled out 2 mana suppression cuffs. "If you are willing to wear these, I would be happy to talk with you too." It seemed there was no room for negotiation. Kurosaki suddenly grabbed a nearby bystander and yelled, "You don't understand! Everyone here are my hostages. Can we resolve this peacefully now?" However, in the next second, Nanase unleashed a powerful kick that sent Kurosaki flying. He slammed violently into the hallway wall before spitting up a large amount of blood. Witnessing this scene, Lucas broke out in a cold sweat. He thought that attack was too fast. "I couldn't see it clearly at all." Nanase then turned to Lucas. "Lucas, you should be different from Kurosaki, right? We can resolve this peacefully." Lucas glanced at the unconscious Kurosaki, debating whether he should use that. He then looked at Nanase. "I want to know why you chose me." He explained, "This is the dark magic power produced by the tree, the contaminated world tree. Normal people would be poisoned by it, but you are different. No, you are the same as the leader of the Blood Tower Guild." "You mean Kurosaki is too?" Lucas began. "Yes." Nanase confirmed he uses dark magic power to operate his abilities. "Feel free to use it. Inject your dark magic power, and let these fruits from the contaminated world tree flourish." Lucas sighed. "I'm sorry. I am the same as Kurosaki. I cannot resolve this peacefully with you." He then drew a sword from his inventory. "I will do whatever it takes to take him away." That sword is the Sword of Prayer. Lucas belongs to the Sage, family of holy knights of the country. They possess a sword passed down for generations. It is said that this weapon is the only holy sword in the world, on the same level as the dragon sword Curisia. However, it does not increase levels or any attributes. The sword has a special name, the Heretic Inquisitor. It is capable of eliminating any ability or weapon considered heretical. The hunter, Nanase, wielding the witch's blade, The cursed sword immediately deemed her a heretic and moved to eliminate her. Sano immediately grew worried and wanted to help. "I'm fine, don't worry," she said. Nanase only made a small cut on the queen's blade. "Now it's my turn," Nanase declared. She raised her sword and attacked, but Lucas dodged the attack with ease. "It seems the hospital is limiting your performance," Lucas mocked. "You can't beat me without using your skills." In the next second, Lucas was proven wrong. Nanase's attack cut his tie. The next wave of Nanase's attacks followed. Instantly, a single sword strike hit Lucas in the chest. The force was overwhelming. In the next second, Lucas was thrown back several meters, spitting blood. "That attack felt like it was going to tear me apart from the inside," he thought. "It seems the holy sword can't compensate for the difference in our strength. Is this the power of the 10th ranked hunter in the world?" Lucas wondered. "I really don't want to use my ability in the hospital, but you're forcing me to." At that moment, Kurosaki's voice echoed. "You damn bastard!" Kurosaki shouted. He had woken from unconsciousness and stood up. In his hand was the contaminated fruit of the unholy tree, already blooming. "Since you want to protect this hospital so much," Kurosaki growled, "I'll turn it all to nothing." He then thrust the fruit of the unholy tree into the ground. "Stop it. This is a hospital," someone shouted. Kurosaki smiled. "You were going to place them in key locations in City C anyway, so let me put one in the hospital too." As large amounts of dark magic power gushed out, everything around them began to corrode. "This is dark magic power," someone noticed. "Only those with dark abilities possess it, but this amount is a bit too much. At this rate, everyone in the hospital would suffer from mana poisoning." "Damn it," Sano exclaimed. He immediately used shadow movement. Sano instantly appeared behind Kurosaki, wrapping him in a spider web. "Too late. It can't be stopped." Kurosaki laughed. The fruit of the unholy tree was in the shape of a flower just a second before. In the next second, it began to spread and grow uncontrollably. Everyone had to dodge. Its thick branches spread to every corner of the hospital in an instant. It formed a small unholy tree, piercing the entire hospital with holes. Ordinary people inside were suddenly in crisis. Sano and the others quickly began rescue operations. "Are you okay? Please evacuate from here with the others as quickly as possible," they urged. Patients who could move did so, but many others could not. Even as they helped with the rescue, the entire hospital was now filled with demonic energy. At this rate, everyone would suffer from mana poisoning. Sean realized there was no other choice, other than to restore the hospital. Thinking this, Sean immediately used his shadow movement to look for Arisara. In a rubble-strewn area, Keith and Satoru Shinoda were busy, rescuing civilians. Sean then teleported directly behind Shinoda. Satoru Shinoda informed him that Arisara's room was surprisingly intact. When they arrived at the room, they found its entrance blocked by thick walls of ice. Arisara had cast this ice barrier magic to protect the area. However, it wasn't enough to stop the demonic energy from seeping in. As soon as the ice walls shattered, Sean and the others rushed inside. He explained the terrible situation to Arisara. The entire hospital had been devastated by the enemy, who used a massive tree to spread demonic energy all over the place. Sean believed the fastest solution was for Arisara to use her ability and restore everything. Arisara readily agreed, stating that with Sean's infinite mana, restoring everything would be no problem. The scene then shifted, showing everyone standing before the giant tree. "This tree is even more massive than I imagined," Sean commented. Someone asked where it came from. "It was Kurosaki," came the answer. The speaker was probably Arisara. She added, "He knew my parents were still in the hospital, but he did this anyway. He doesn't care one bit about their lives." "So let's get started," Sean said. He immediately began transferring large amounts of mana to Arisara. She, in turn, placed her hand on the tree trunk and began to release her ability. But in that exact instant, the tree seemed to sense danger. It immediately began to retract its roots. Soon, all the roots that had spread throughout the hospital retreated, forming a massive barrier that suddenly blocked Arisara's path. A giant opening appeared on the trunk. Large amounts of demonic energy gushed out, attacking Arisara directly. Seeing this, Sean became extremely anxious. He quickly rushed forward, activating Control+5 of the giant king spider's silk. Instantly, the silk formed a protective wall in front of them. The next second, a strong explosion shook the area. Both the silk and the dark energy dissipated. Satoru Shinoda immediately ran forward, his face full of worry. "Sean-senpai, are you okay?" Satoru Shinoda asked. "I'm fine," Sean replied, "but Arisara just fainted, and it seems the restoration failed. We have to evacuate everyone from here quickly, or they will all be poisoned." Satoru Shinoda picked up Arisara and immediately ran to the hospital exit. Sano then pointed to the mysterious tree and asked Ares, "Do you know what this thing really is?" Ares replied that according to the notes his mother left, it might be from another world, a dimension completely different from ours. I believe this is a fruit from a corrupted world tree. Ares continued, explaining that its purpose is to transfer the contamination from its source to our dimension. Since the main body of the corrupted world tree is in another dimension, simply restoring it to its original state won't work here, he added. These fruits can also serve as barriers. The enemies will probably plant them all over the city. Sano was extremely shocked to hear this. A terrible catastrophe is about to happen, Sano realized. 10 minutes later, at the hospital entrance, rescue teams had evacuated a large number of victims. Magic hunters were desperately trying to use purification magic to eliminate the dark and pervasive demonic energy. However, no matter how much they purified, they couldn't eliminate it. The president of the Hunters Association, Fu and Itachi Tsuyoshi, soon arrived on the scene. It's truly a corrupted world tree from another dimension, one of them commented grimly. Even seeing it with my own eyes, it's hard to believe. The other agreed, adding that Nanase still bears the great responsibility for this incident. I never thought Kurosaki could escape from the world-famous hunter, Nanase. If Lucas was also involved in this, the first speaker added, then we will have to demand an explanation from the International Hunters Association. At that instant, the ground shook violently, and no one knew what was happening. A hunter immediately ran anxiously toward President Fu. Reports from the Northern District confirm, a second world tree has sprouted. Damn it, Kurosaki acted fast once again. Now, two mysterious, imposing trees stood in the city. These trees continuously emitted dark, demonic energy. Anyone who inhaled it would be immediately poisoned. Because of this, the areas around both giant trees were quickly designated as restricted zones. People in the nearby areas immediately began to evacuate. The roads were jammed with evacuation vehicles. Records showed that these trees originated from the fruits of a world tree, a corrupted one from another world. The dark demonic energy itself came from that very tree, a world tree from another dimension. These two trees acted as conduits, continuously transmitting dark demonic energy to the blue star. In this situation, there's no way they can catch us now. By the way, I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. You actually used dark magic on ordinary people for brainwashing. People contaminated by you become puppets completely under your command. Hearing this, Lucas became extremely enraged. Shut up, this is all your fault, so don't be mad. I'm praising you, they're looking for us everywhere now, but as long as I'm with you, we'll never be discovered. I'm sure they'd never think we would be hiding. In a police car, 3 more locations to go, let's hurry. Meanwhile, back at the office of the Hunters Association president, Shane and his group were discussing countermeasures, so 2 or 3 more identical trees will appear and then they will surround the entire city to form some kind of barrier, yes, at least. That's what's recorded in my mother's notes. The same type of tree appeared during the Great Disaster. 15 years ago, these tainted trees act as barriers and gates. When the time comes, a large number of tainted monsters will appear. Could this be related again to the Great Disaster from 15 years ago? I remember our car was attacked by the roots of this tree. Back then, my father drove desperately trying to escape with me. Damn it, it's the same thing mentioned before. Who would unleash this in the city, despite his father's best efforts? Driving at top speed, they couldn't evade the attack from the tree's roots. They pierced through the entire car as he thought about this. The cursed hourglass mark on his neck suddenly emitted a faint blue light. Could this be related to my curse? Damn it, if the mastermind is the same person, I'll make them pay dearly now, I remember. Another person said there was indeed a tree in the city back then, but I was busy dealing with a dungeon break, and I didn't have time to pay attention. It will form a barrier and serve as a gate, connecting 2-dimensional worlds, and it will even open a subspace. I don't quite understand why they're making this so complicated. Is there something special about this subspace? It couldn't be a Dark Souls subspace. Could it? You said Dark Souls. They need an environment full of demonic energy, so they use tainted trees to form a barrier for their descent. Under the current circumstances, the opening of a subspace is highly likely, however. The worst-case scenario is that a gate to another dimensional world might also be opened. Upon hearing them mention subspace, Shane suddenly realized an opportunity. If he could copy it into an infinite space, it would solve his problem of insufficient storage and create an unlimited army of gargoyles. Then, wouldn't I be invincible? I must catch the mastermind and obtain a subspace. The discussion then turned to dimensional keys. Takeshi didn't believe that such things existed. Then Shane took out the 2-dimensional fragments he was holding. Takeshi was dumbfounded, unable to believe that it really existed. Is this really a dimensional key? He asked. These are just 2 fragments of the key. You need to collect all 5 for it to truly work? My mother's notes mention 1 contaminated dimensional gate that once opened in the fictional country. Now that contaminated trees and dimensional fragments have appeared again, it is very likely that the Outsiders from that time are acting once more. They might also have dimensional fragments. Then Shirasaki suddenly spoke up. Actually, our guild has one of those things too. An hour later, everyone arrived at the future guild's underground vault. This vault door is huge. Master Shirasaki, where did you get your dimensional fragment? You didn't buy it through underground channels, did you? I hope not. Don't let it be a fake and embarrass us. Sano, however, was sure that a dimensional fragment was in there. He knew that the fragments resonate with each other as the massive door slowly opened. The interior was revealed to everyone. In the vast space, only one item rested in the center. It was dimensional fragment number 4 encased in a shimmering barrier. Since no one knew what would happen, when the fragments merged, only Sano and Shirasaki went inside. This decision actually pleased Takuti de Tsuyoshi. He thought, if you accidentally open some strange dimension, I will make you pay for it. The door closed behind them. As Sano and Shirasaki approached the fragment, Sano asked, "Can't you tell me where you got this?" Shirasaki replied, "Stop talking nonsense and let's get to work. As soon as you combine them, get inside my barrier immediately." Sano scoffed, "You don't need to be so careful, I have already combined them once before, so don't worry so much," he added confidently. "Besides, I can use movement skills to escape instantly." The instant Sano touched the fragment, the barrier around it shattered. The dimensional fragment shone with a blinding light. What is happening? Sano wondered. A huge explosion echoed through the room. Fortunately, Sano teleported in time, or it would have been his end. He thought, I never imagined the fragment would emerge from space and combine on its own. He realized, if combining the third fragment already produces such power, what will happen when the fourth emerges? Sano pondered. Meanwhile, Shirasaki saw the teleportation skills Sano had just used and was furious. "Who are you anyway?" he demanded. Sano replied, "I am Sano. What is wrong with you?" But in the next second, Shirasaki grabbed Sano's throat. "How can you use the highest level advanced movement skill?" Shirak growled. "What's wrong with you?" Zane shot back. "Have you lost your mind?" Shirak insisted. "Tell me how you can use shadow abilities without using dark magic power." Zane thought, "Damn it. How do I explain this? Should I reveal my secret?" He quickly tried to explain. "I can't use dark magic power," but Shirak didn't buy that nonsense. He raised his staff and shot a black bolt directly at Zane. Zane thought, "Damn it, why can't I activate shadow movement?" Shirak sneered. "Wondering why you can't use your skill? That's because the black bolt is the only skill capable of stopping shadow movement. I've been suspicious of you from the very beginning," he continued. "Tell me, who are you really? What actually happened between you and Kuro? On the snow mountain? Is this all part of your plan?" Zane cursed inwardly. "Damn it, how do I explain this? I shouldn't have come here alone with him." Zane knew he had no choice. "I have to do this," he thought. Then he activated Control Copy, Giant King Spider Web. Instantly, countless silk threads shot out. Completely surrounding Shirak, they quickly wrapped him in a tight ball. However, the very next second, something happened inside the ball. Bang! The silk cocoon exploded instantly. Shirak reappeared right in front of Zane. "If you don't confess honestly," Shirak warned, "you will truly die here." Zane wondered. Would he really kill me? Why is he so angry? Shirak had completely transformed, his aura darkening, as he prepared to unleash his full power. Faced with this terrifying situation, Zane knew he only had one option. He immediately summoned his system panel and took out 2 bottles of the highest grade potions. The potion's description read, "Effect: heals 95% of damage, cannot be used in combination. No effect if the target is already dead." At that very moment, Shirak launched his attack. Countless black bolts were fired directly at Zane. A wave of intense anxiety washed over him. As his health plummeted, he screamed, "Control 5! Health below 25%. Activate skill. Carisian Dragon Sword. Berserk mode." He commanded, "Control 5, equip Carisian Dragon Sword." Instantly, Zane's aura surged, dissipating all the black bolts around him. He glared at Shirak. "You forced my hand," Zane growled. Zane then unleashed a heavy sword strike. Shirak screamed, "Damn it, what just happened?" A massive explosion erupted, leaving Shirak covered in wounds, with blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Then a memory surfaced. "Brother, what should we name our guild? I hope it becomes the strongest in the future." "We'll definitely be the strongest guild in the future. I like that name. I will help you become the strongest hunter in the world." The memory of the world's strongest hunter. This is truly a great feeling. The other voice agreed. Another scene emerged from the past. 10 years ago, they had faced even the King of Hell without fear, eventually defeating him. However, during preparations for a dungeon raid, they discovered that an unidentified person had infiltrated their team, But Kalen didn't care in the slightest. This dungeon is quite famous, so it's normal not to recognize everyone who shows up. Besides, we have your return skill, which means we can escape any danger inside, no matter what. Nolan was still very worried. Then, at the end of the dungeon raid, an accident still happened. The bandaged man suddenly attacked everyone. "You bastard! What are you doing?" someone screamed. The bandaged man replied, "This is an addictive toxin and dark magic. When exposed to the air, people's minds will be slowly contaminated. Soon, they will transform into low-level monsters, even worse than ghouls." He then demanded, "Give me the antidote, quickly, or I will kill him." "You must have obtained the final reward from this dungeon raid, the shadow movement skill. Give it to me, and I will tell you how to save your brother," he added. Without the power of dark magic, however, that skill is useless. With no other choice, Kalen handed over the skill. The man continued, "The ancestral sword, glory of the Cooper family from the country of Kiritmuth. This is the only way for you to avoid being poisoned." "What? You're not going to give me the antidote? You bastard!" Kalen screamed. The bandaged man just laughed. "There is no antidote for dark magic addiction. Oh, and by the way, this dungeon is a moving dungeon. Once it is successfully cleared, the dungeon moves and this entire place collapses." "You bastard! You never intended to let us go from the very beginning," Kalen yelled. "Goodbye, little boy," said the bandaged man as he left. The dungeon began to collapse. Nolan, holding something, said, "This is something I found in the boss's room earlier. I do not know what it is, but it is definitely nothing ordinary. Brother, I cannot continue on this path with you." "No." As Nolan's return skill activated, Kalen found himself alone. Back in the guild office the next second, he was utterly devastated, screaming at the sky. Back in the present, 10 years have passed since that day. I've searched every dungeon, but I've never found that moving dungeon again. I know the chances of my brother still being alive are low, but even if it's just his remains, I need to bring him back. No wonder he's called the dungeon otaku. Just now, that was thanks to the effect of the dragon sword. That's also why I studied dark magic and shadow abilities. I don't care one bit about the rules of the International Hunter Association. Most shadow abilities should have been destroyed long ago. Shadow movement is an even rarer skill, probably. Only that bandaged man can still use it. So, you wanted to ask how Kurosaki and I learned it? Alright, I'll tell you. No need. You just used the dragon sword Crucia, right? I don't think Ares would give you that. I know your ability. It's similar to theft, right? Just like the sword. You stole the shadow movement ability. I'm sorry for misunderstanding you then. You're just someone who uses thief skills. Shirasaki retorted, "If you're going to apologize, you can remove the word thief." He then added, "As soon as the collection of the dimensional key is complete, I want to join you." Meanwhile, on the other side, Kurosaki had just planted another corrupted world tree. After resolving the misunderstanding, Sano and Shirasaki left the vault. Everyone was curious about what had happened inside, but Sano just made up some excuse. "I've just received news," he said. "The third corrupted world tree has appeared. Based on its location, we can now predict Kurosaki's movement. Before that, however, we need to gather hunters near Ginza. From the size and location of the barrier, I predict that the subspace will appear in Ginza itself. If we can stop him before the fourth world tree appears, we'll be fine. I need to return to the association to gather hunters. Do you two want to come along?" "No, it's all right. We still have preparations to make." So everyone split up to take care of their own tasks. Meanwhile, somewhere in Europe, Lord Michael and the members of his guild were holding a secret meeting. They had just received a request for support from Country H, and of course Country M had also been notified. The time had come. "The subspace will open normally, right?" one asked. "Of course," Michael replied. "The opening of the subspace is inevitable. The subspace will be filled with goblins and meowwork monsters." "Just goblins and meowwork monsters?" someone scoffed. "You're underestimating the hunters of Country H." Michael just smiled. "Don't worry. Everything is going according to plan. Still, do not underestimate the situation. As soon as the subspace opens in the city, there will be a huge debuff. We absolutely must succeed this time. That is certain," someone agreed. Shortly after, the ferryman departed. Meanwhile, at the White House in Country M, a different conversation was taking place. "That thing really appeared in Country H?" a commander asked. "Yes," an advisor confirmed. "It first appeared in the Silks country, 15 years ago. These entities, they come from the same dimension as the subspace of the Dark Souls. This situation is incredibly dangerous for us. If a direct passage between the two worlds opens, it could mean the end for everyone. I heard the International Hunter Association has already sent people to support them," another official observed. At that exact moment, the nearby secretary received an urgent phone call. "Commander," she announced, "there is a video call from the Hunter Association." After getting approval, the TV screen was immediately turned on. An anxious face appeared. "Commander, sir," the person on the screen began, "we have encountered a major problem. Things may be getting out of control. According to our reports, the Rattlesnake Guild's plane is already flying towards Country H." The commander exclaimed, "You mean Tanner is going too?" He paused and then added, "Tanner carries most of the guild's special equipment. He is like a nuclear bomb that could go off at any moment. I just hope he does not act recklessly. This is no longer just Country H's problem," the commander stated gravely. "Select the best group of hunters and send them there for immediate support." With that, the scene shifted back to the third contaminated world tree. Lucas was far away on a rooftop, silently observing the colossal tree. Just as KL said, he thought to himself, "Now I am just like him." A heavy sigh escaped him. "Even though it was to protect my family, this is all my fault." It all started the day he acquired the ability, F-Control. Instantly, various pieces of information from the media flooded his mind. It was a torrent of people's resentment and hope. He could even feel the consciousness and death of the monsters. For a whole week, he almost lost consciousness and could not do absolutely anything. Finally, in desperation, he tried to kill to stop the curse of F-Control. But ironically, it was then that he discovered the way to break it. His family possessed a valuable heirloom, the Angel's Sword, a sacred blade. As long as he held it, the curse of F-Control would be suppressed. Later, he gradually began to adapt to the curse's power. Then, a major incident occurred. A portal to another dimension opened in a fictional country. Western hunters soon came to his home, wanting to borrow the sacred sword. His father, wanting to protect Lucas, firmly refused. As a result, the country of Ibi suffered tremendous losses, and the Cooper family lost much of its status and power. This drove Lucas to begin researching the power of the curse for himself. After trying every conceivable method, he discovered a dark truth. Only dark magic could truly control this curse. If he let his guard down, he would easily lose control of the ability. That's why he always kept the sacred sword by his side. Finally, he met them, and thanks to them, his family managed to rise again. But the price was high. Michael had threatened him, demanding that he use the control to find all the cursed ones. Once they were found, Michael would kill them and steal their cursed power. He had used the excuse of protecting his family for far too long. For too long. The truth is, "I'm just afraid of death." He admitted to himself, "I'm a coward." Now that we know who has the control ability, if this curse falls into Michael's hands, who knows what might happen. I want to see for myself. So, Lucas sealed the sacred sword. Instantly, the cursed power erupted. As soon as the curse's ability was activated, Lucas's consciousness was drawn into a mysterious space. He followed the previous clues. Searching continuously, he found its location, Control. At 10,000 meters high, a plane was flying toward the island nation. Inside was Tana, the #1 hunter in the world. "Boss, if we're heading to the island nation, why are we taking a plane like this? Richard, have you forgotten our guild's motto?" "Of course I haven't forgotten. The moment you let your guard down, danger can strike suddenly. I understand what you mean. I'll be more careful next time." 15 years ago, during the Great Disaster, I was already a ranked hunter. I almost died. In the end, it was the Western hunters who saved me. Not long after, a transcendent being from another dimension granted me an ability. Soon, I became the #1 hunter in the world thanks to that ability. After that disaster ended, Sion entrusted this to me for safekeeping. Tana held a #2 multidimensional fragment, shining with golden light. This is the first time in 15 years that it has resonated. What exactly is happening in the island nation? I must uncover the truth behind all of this. Meanwhile, above Ginza, in the island nation, the demonic energy grew ever denser. All the hunters were rushing to this location. The concentration of corruption was highest here, so the subspace would definitely open. At this point, the Great Sage Guild was responsible for the World Tree. In the hospital, the Guildmaster, Arthur Shaw, was using magic circles to control the dark energy. There, Guildmaster Takute sent his members to support various areas. He sat alone in the center of Ginza, waiting for the subspace to open. The other smaller guilds were responsible for evacuating civilians. By the way, where did Hunter Sano go? He said he had some things to take care of first. The scene then changes to a shopping mall in Ginza. Sano's group was carrying several bags each. Even the little stone was carrying a backpack. At that moment, Lucas arrived, carrying his sword. "How did you know we were here? I don't want to waste time with you now. I'm here for Hunter Sano." Seeing the holy sword in Lucas's hand, Sano remembered the story Kurosaki had told him. If I could copy this sword, maybe I could purify that filthy dark energy. Thinking this, Sano disappeared immediately. In the next second, he appeared behind Lucas. Just as he was about to touch the holy sword, Lucas noticed him. Sano immediately retreated. Don't do such strange things. I already know all of your abilities, including your copy ability, Control+. These words shocked Sano. How did he know my secret? However, Sano still pretended not to understand what Lucas meant. Feigning ignorance is useless. My family and I are risking our lives for this. Just as the attack was about to hit Sano, he immediately used his skill, shadow movement. He appeared behind Lucas. However, Lucas's holy sword was the natural enemy of dark abilities. Lucas activated his ability immediately. The holy sword began to emit a brilliant light. This is bad. I can't use shadow movement. This is the power of the holy sword. Its light can purify the darkness within a 10-meter radius. Now let's see where you run. This is getting troublesome. Should I use a Kalicha dragon sword? You know, I've been looking for you for a long time. I want to know how you control with the Control+ ability. I get it now. You're one of the cursed too. You're planning to kill me and steal my ability. You're just like Kurosaki. These words instantly enraged Lucas, and he immediately attacked with his sword. Sano was caught off guard by this sudden attack, and was pierced by the sword. Lucas couldn't believe how easy it was, but it was all part of Sano's plan. He had finally touched the holy sword, Control+. The holy sword began to merge with its user. Sano successfully copied the holy sword. He immediately took out a high-quality healing potion. The moment he drank it, his wound healed instantly. Only then did Lucas realize that Sano had intentionally let himself be stabbed just to copy the holy sword. I'll ask you one last time. What do you plan to do with Control+? Do you even need to ask? Of course, to become the strongest hunter in the world, an existence even stronger than the transcendent ones. However, Lucas wasn't satisfied with that answer. He attacked Sano again. We don't have much time, Sano said. Didn't you hear when you received the curse? Now, there are only 5 years left until the great disaster. Lucas truly didn't know. When he received the curse, he got so much information at once that he couldn't filter everything. This hourglass mark is a countdown. At that moment, strange sounds burst from the sky. Is it starting now? Someone wondered. The dark subspace from another dimension was about to open. Once opened, it will designate a contaminated area. In this area, the HP and MP of all hunters will decrease by 30%. Furthermore, the use of common magic skills will be restricted. If this subspace fully opens, this city will become a living hell. The elf's mission was complete. I must return and report, the elf thought. Just then, countless black lightning bolts rained down on Kurosaki. Shirasaki had arrived along with Ares. You're not going anywhere, because you're about to die right here. It's a shame you're too late, Shirasaki mocked. The opening of the subspace can't be stopped. This city is finished. That's fine by me, Shirasaki continued. My target is you. Besides, the negative effects of the subspace won't affect me. Do you think you're the only one unaffected by the debuffs? Kurosaki shot back. With that, he pulled a long sword out of thin air. Let me show you what real dark magic looks like. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Hunter Association. All the hunters received a system notification about the subspace opening. I've never seen such ridiculous debuffs, a hunter exclaimed. Restricting magic skills? How are we mages supposed to fight? Several mages tried to cast spells, but none of them would activate. Suddenly, a massive tornado erupted from the center of the city. Then, a huge spatial rift appeared before everyone's eyes. A figure then stepped out of the rift. This newcomer was the mastermind behind it all. Looks like everyone is here. The show is about to begin. The hunters below were puzzled. What's going on? A subspace this big, and only one elf came out? Wait. Everyone looked down. Countless monsters poured from the subspace. Their sheer numbers sent everyone into a panic. You've got to be kidding me. How can we possibly handle this many? A hunter exclaimed. The mastermind spoke again. I have been patient for 15 years. Now, unleash your fury. Immediately, all the monsters began to charge. But a bald man stepped forward to meet them. You think you can win with numbers alone? You underestimate us. With that, Takute activated his stone armor. He began to land heavy blows on the approaching monsters as he declared, I don't need magic to activate my stone armor. Dealing with you one by one is too troublesome. Come at me all at once. Takuto's taunt instantly enraged the monsters before him, but in the next second, they were torn apart by a powerful force. Master Takuto is so strong. Let's help too. With that, the two armies clashed. The huntress Nanase also rushed to the scene, joining the fight. Meanwhile, on President Fudo's side, Monsters were closing in on him. Just as they were about to attack the guildmaster, President Fudo pulled out a shield, a giant one, and blocked their advance. The massive shield perfectly deflected every monster's attack. Then he raised it high and swung it down. He sliced the monster before him, clean in half. The sheer power of the attack even cleaved through the monsters behind it. This giant shield acted like a sword, even without using any skills. Its power was immense. Although these giant monsters were easy for the president, Fudo and Master Takuto to handle, they proved to be very difficult. For the other hunters, there were simply too many enemies. If this continued, everyone would be in grave danger. At that moment, Nanase found herself targeted by monsters. A giant bird descended, but Nanase dodged just in time. This was a level 150 boss griffin. Known for ambushing its enemies, it was actually a boss-level monster. Are we really seeing boss-level monsters this early? A hunter wondered. The griffin itself isn't the terrifying part. The real danger lies in the flames it breathes, which won't be extinguished until they burn their target completely to ash. And with our recovery skills sealed, Nanase thought, if anyone gets hit by those flames, they're finished. I have to stop it before it breathes fire. The next second, terrifying flames erupted from the griffin's mouth, flying straight for the huntress Nanase. Nanase gasped. This is bad. I'm going to be swallowed by those flames. At that moment, a figure suddenly flashed in front of her. In the next second, massive flames engulfed them. But from within the inferno, President Fudo raised his giant shield, splitting the flames in two. Huntress Nanase, this one is yours. Cut off its head. You need to stop it from breathing any more fire. Huntress Nanase immediately charged towards the monster upon receiving the command. The griffin saw this and spewed flames again, completely surrounding the area, but that alone couldn't stop Nanase. She leaped high. She swung the witch's blade with all her might at the griffin's head, but it surprisingly dodged. Then it raised its giant claw, preparing to crush Nanase. He quickly raised his blade to block. Damn it! I didn't expect this giant bird to be so agile. The griffin suddenly sensed danger. It immediately flew into the sky to evade the attack. It was Chairman Falk, striking once more. I think I've made things worse. Now that it's airborne, it's even more problematic to deal with. The griffin could spit flames even from high in the sky. Nana, get behind me! However, Nana charged forward instead of retreating. Guildmaster, cover me. I can definitely take that guy down. Chairman Falk smiled faintly, then hurled the giant shield with all his might. Nana used the shield in midair to jump again, landing on the griffin's back. She raised the witch's blade and swung it down with force. In the next second, the griffin's head was severed. It crashed heavily to the ground, but then, they discovered that the griffin's corpse was continuously leaking dark magic. They had finally defeated a boss-level monster, but this was only making the dark magic even denser. It seemed the higher a monster's level, the more magic it released upon death. On the battlefield, the hunters couldn't use their skills and were being pushed back by the monsters. We can't go on like this. Bring out your trump cards. A mage pulled out a magic scroll, and a magic circle appeared from it. The powerful force instantly sliced the monsters to pieces. However, magic scrolls were single-use items that vanished immediately after being used. That power was incredible. Don't celebrate too soon. I don't have many magic scrolls left. At that moment, a hunter dressed in red behind them suddenly coughed up blood, writhing in pain. Connigan wanted to help, but in the next second, he too coughed up blood painfully. What is happening? It's contamination. The more monsters we kill, the more dark magic seeps from their corpses. We're now suffering from magical poisoning. Too bad you're only realizing it now. It's too late. Every single monster in this dark subspace has been infused with a dark aura. When they die, they release contaminated magic. You thought killing them would keep you safe, but their deaths will ultimately kill you. Have fun. There are countless monsters still inside this subspace. Connigan looked at this scene in despair. The island nation was finished. Just then, a familiar voice came from behind. Get up. It's not over yet. This is just the beginning. Shane's group had arrived on the battlefield, carrying bags large and small. Connigan was stunned to see Shane. He was about to ask why, when Shane quickly handed him a healing potion. Drink this first, Shane insisted. Don't worry, Shane said. Leave everything to us from now on. And Connigan couldn't believe it. Is this still the Shane I know? He wondered. Sean then opened his system panel. First, let me deal with this terrible debuff, he declared. He activated magic control and infinite copy in the next second. Countless magical energies emanated from Sean. Hunters who couldn't use their abilities suddenly saw their powers return. Chairman Frey also noticed the drastic changes happening around him. Even though the subspace debuff hadn't completely disappeared, this continuous supply of magic allowed the hunters to use their abilities once more. "This large-scale magic output is incredible," exclaimed Chairman Frey. The elf man was visibly shocked by this massive influx of power. Sean was essentially using vast quantities of magic to neutralize the subspace debuff. How is this possible? The elf man wondered. Could it be Control+? However, even with this newfound magic, the sheer number of monsters could not be dealt with so quickly. Sean's team continued to push deeper into the front lines, still carrying their mysterious bags. Suddenly, a group of giant monsters appeared right in front of them. "We're too close," someone asked. "Don't worry," Sean replied. "Take out what's in the bags." The others immediately opened their bags. Countless small, round balls rolled onto the ground. Nearby, hunters looked on, intrigued. "What are they doing?" one whispered. "Go, my minions," Sean commanded. "Take them all down." The round balls that had just scattered suddenly transformed into small gargoyles. They immediately charged towards the monsters. However, the first gargoyles were quickly crushed by the powerful punches of the monster. "Damn it," Sean muttered. "Even with so many gargoyles, it's not enough." But then a swarm of small gargoyles climbed up a monster's arm. They attacked its vulnerable points, surrounding it. In moments, they brought down the massive creature. It was a clear demonstration that even small creatures like ants could take down an elephant if there were enough of them. Thus, thanks to the gargoyles' relentless attacks, defeating these giant beasts became much easier. Soon, Sean's gargoyles evolved. They reached level 3, gaining new abilities. Skill 1 allowed them to create puppets based on Sean's image, and previously created puppets could be recreated. Skill 2, Puppet Armor, could transform them into stone armor, covering Sean's entire body. Skill 3 granted Zane the ability to share sensory vision and hearing with his created puppets, and this fourth ability enabled him to give them specific commands. Seeing all this new information, Zane became extremely excited. Zane immediately commanded all the gargoyles to gather. They began to transform and merge right before everyone's eyes. "Come forth, my combined beast," he shouted as the mass fused together. A massive stone dragon rose from the ground. It beat its powerful wings and flew straight into the sky. Other hunters watched this incredible scene in complete disbelief. "Am I seeing things?" someone gasped. The gargoyles actually became one flying dragon. Other dragons, already in the sky, immediately noticed this new stone giant. They wasted no time, spitting massive flames directly at it. Instantly, the stone dragon was completely engulfed in fire. It was immediately incapacitated. The other dragons saw this and quickly flew towards it. They struck the stone dragon directly on the head. The stone dragon fell heavily to the ground, shattering into countless pieces. Everyone felt sorry for it. But then the pieces transformed into small, stone dragons. They quickly reassembled and attacked the dragon in the sky. The dragon in the sky saw this. It spat scorching flames again. The small stone dragons were immediately swallowed by the fire. Their bodies began to spin rapidly, blocking all the flames. The next second, the small stone dragons broke through the fire. They instantly pierced the dragon. The small stone dragon's speed didn't decrease at all. Soon, they had taken care of all the dragons in the sky. This massive amount of experience instantly made me level up several times. Nearby, hunters watched this scene in shock. "Now we can focus on the monsters on the ground." I activated auto hunt mode. Lucas, standing nearby, looked shocked at the pile of dragon remains on the ground. "This is the true power of control," he wondered. "It seems he has yielded to the power of the curse. Was the curse even purified?" At that moment, Zane appeared behind Lucas. He wanted to ask who had opened the subspace. However, Lucas couldn't risk his family and refused to betray them. No matter what, he wouldn't do it. "Let me tell you, the real chaos hasn't even begun," he said. At that moment, the ground beneath them began to crumble. Countless vines burst from the ground, instantly wrapping around Zane. Lucas was lucky to dodge them, but the vines didn't give up. They attacked Lucas again. After another dodge, he immediately drew his holy sword, planning to purify them. Unexpectedly, his hands and feet were bound. Then his entire body was swallowed. The entire area quickly became covered in vines. "Damn it, what are these vines?" he thought, "and they're still moving. Someone must be controlling them." Looking up, he saw an elf floating in the air. Why would an elf appear in our dimension, he wondered. Master Shade had pursued them all the way here. However, he found that his black lightning couldn't harm the elf. "You don't understand." The elf scoffed. "I have already overcome the corruption of dark magic." With that, he attacked Master Shade. The dark magic at the tip of his sword touched Shade's shield, and the shield instantly dissolved and shattered. Although Shade dodged back immediately, a wound was still carved into his face. "Not everyone can do that," Shade muttered. The dark magic around the elf grew even denser. How can he wield such massive magic, he wondered. I suspect he absorbed my black lightning. The next second, Craven swung his sword forcefully, unleashing a massive wave of sword energy. It shot towards Ares and Shade, who both quickly dodged to the sides. This strike split the building right in half. Now your mortal skills are all useless against me, Craven declared. Just as he was about to attack again, Ares immediately used ice magic, freezing Craven to the ground. Shade was curious, had the subspace debuff worn off? He asked. Can you use magic now? No, Ares replied. It's probably the effect of Zane's infinite magic. Currently, I can use about 50% of my power, and that's enough to stop him. When Craven's magic broke through the blocks of ice on him, they shattered instantly. Ares tried to use the same trick again, but as he moved to freeze Craven, Craven quickly leaped into the air. He then attacked them directly. You think you can trap me? Craven challenged. I am the guild master of the Blood Tower. At this critical moment, Ares quickly activated a magical barrier. You may not know, he said, my dark magic can absorb ordinary magic and become stronger. Immediately, the magical barrier began to dissolve and fade. Seeing this, Ares quickly pulled a magic scroll from his pocket. He tore it in half and the magic runes inside instantly formed a new barrier. You're struggling in your death throes, Craven mocked. Planning to absorb it again, he immediately raised his sword to strike. The next second, the barrier shattered instantly. Fortunately, Shade blocked in front of Ares. Just in time, he launched a blast of black lightning at Craven. Craven quickly raised his sword to block the attack. Seeing his chance, Ares used ice magic again, and numerous ice spikes dug into Craven, trapping him instantly. Tell me, Ares demanded, where did you get the shadow movement ability? Otherwise I will make you wish for death. You chased me all this way just for that? Kurosaki mocked. You know, I heard some very interesting things from Lucas. Kurosaki's magic erupted around him. A massive amount of magic. It quickly enveloped Shirasaki. When Shirasaki opened his eyes again, he found himself back in a cave. A man lay on the ground just below him. It was Nank, his brother, poisoned by magic. Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, the elf approached Lucas. He took the holy sword from Lucas's hand. I thought it would take a long time to get this, he pondered. You approached me for the holy sword from the very beginning, did you not? Lucas accused. No, the elf replied. Your F-control ability is also essential. It can help me quickly find the control. If the power of the holy sword combines with the control, perhaps I can save my world. Let me tell you something, he continued. In the elven world, some are cursed, and I am one of them. What, Michael, you are also cursed? Lucas exclaimed. So you want to steal the control? Unfortunately, Michael admitted, although I wanted to do that, I cannot absorb curses from another dimension. The original plan was for me to kill you, so that your curse would be transferred to me. Lucas was furious. So they had planned to abandon him from the very beginning. In that instant, a voice came from behind Michael. I think I saw something interesting. Sano appeared suddenly. He raised his sword for a sneak attack but was blocked by vines. So you copied the shadow movement ability, Michael observed. He then coiled his vines to attack Sano. It is you, is it not? Sano retorted. The one who opened the subspace and threw the city into chaos. Control+5. Giant King's Spider Silk. Instantly, countless spider silks surrounded Michael. Is this your cursed copy ability? How ridiculous, Michael scoffed. His body sprouted several vines to protect him. Such things cannot hurt me. Do you really think so, Sano? In defiance, the spider silk immediately sprouted numerous thorns. It then coiled and contracted, continuously around the vines. Soon, the silk crushed them. Michael leaped back. The moment the vines shattered, you not only merged your abilities but also strengthened them. This is your strongest curse. Sano teleported behind him once more. What is wrong? Scared of my abilities? Michael dodged Sano's attack again. Yes, but that only makes me want to steal it even more. That is exactly what I wanted to say. Sano quickly extended his hand to touch him, activating the control's subspace search. No copyable object found. Sano could not believe it. Unfortunately, you cannot copy anything from me, Michael retorted. Michael then coiled his vines to attack Sano, enveloping him again. Meanwhile, Lucas had already freed himself from the vines on his side. This is bad. Without the suppression of the holy sword, Zane realized he could not control the curse any longer. Suddenly, a huge flood of information invaded his mind. Zane's spirit and Michael's spirit seemed to share an energy link. Because they were connected, it could be related to the subspace. There was only one way for Zane, to copy Michael's ability. Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, Cross had just broken through the ice spikes. Master Shirai was still trapped in the illusion, completely unable to resist. So now I just need to kill this mage, and I win, Cross declared. Advancing towards Ares. Ares quickly used an ice wall to block the attack, but it shattered instantly. A massive spell then surrounded him, and Ares quickly retreated. But he knew that running was useless. Just die obediently, Cross mocked. Then Ares' magic suddenly changed. Only those who master one thing are truly powerful. How could I lose to someone like you? Cross suddenly noticed that the sky had darkened. He looked up and saw a gigantic iceberg falling from the sky. Its terrifying power destroyed the entire street. Are you crazy? Casting something like that in the city center, Cross shouted. I almost thought I was going to die, Cross exclaimed. Suddenly, his body was frozen again. Don't worry, said Ares calmly. The ordinary residents here have already been evacuated. Now, wait for the wrath of Master Shirai. Only then did Cross notice Shirai floating in the sky. He had already broken free from the illusion. How did you do that? You absorbed the abyss, Cross asked. I said I would send you there myself, Shirai replied. He launched a terrifying attack, piercing Cross directly. However, Master Shirai's eyes now held a strange look. Don't you have questions for him? Cross asked in surprise. It's no longer necessary. I've already obtained the information I wanted. Sending me into the abyss was his biggest mistake, Shirai continued. I discovered a clue in the abyss on how to overcome the addiction to dark magic. But now, let's head to Zane's side first. So, what exactly did you see in the abyss? Cross questioned. I found hope for victory. Meanwhile, on Zane's side, the battle raged on. Zane vanished instantly. He then reappeared behind Michael, brandishing his sword, but Michael blocked it with the holy sword in his hand. Your teleportation ability is very annoying, Michael observed. Let me help you seal it. Michael drove the holy sword down toward Zane's feet. Instantly, the shadows over Sean were dispelled. There. Now you can no longer teleport. The next second, Michael sent out vines, trapping Sean. Once again, Sean was instantly entangled. Unable to escape, Michael raised his sword for a strike. Sean quickly raised his own blade, to block. But his long sword shattered on impact. No way. It seems ordinary swords won't do here. Control 5. Use the dragon sword Kalisha. Sean instantly drew his strongest trump card. A single strike shattered the vines that bound him. The massive light from the sword shot straight towards Michael. When the smoke cleared, Michael had surprisingly parried the blow. The power of the dragon sword Kalisha is truly terrifying. Without the holy sword, that would have been dangerous. Don't think it's over yet. Sean leaped high with his sword raised. But before he could land the blow, a portal suddenly opened behind Michael. Michael vanished into it. Sean's strike passed through empty air. Suddenly, the portal reappeared, and the holy sword struck Sean in a single blow. Even with his level boosted by the sword, his combat experience is still lacking. Damn it, I didn't expect subspace could be used for movement. How can I copy that? Lost in thought, Sean took out a healing potion. He drank it quickly. High-level healing potions can completely close external wounds, but they can't repair internal damage. These potions are made with divine power, so they can't completely heal the damage from the holy sword itself. Let's see what else you can copy. There's nothing left for you to copy, but it seems I don't need anything else. As soon as he finished speaking, a hellfire blast erupted right at Michael. Damn it, who is this? The massive explosion of power knocked the holy sword from Michael's hand. It flew through the air and embedded itself in the ground nearby. To block the hellfire, Michael immediately summoned vines. He barely managed to contain them. It was the huntress, Nana, arriving just in the nick of time. Are you okay? Thank you so much. You came at the perfect moment. Thanks to your gargoyles, most of the monsters have been slain. Master Tokute is also on his way. On his way? At that moment, the holy sword that was nearby flew back into Lucas Michael's hand. I'll make you pay. Your flames are impressive. But how long can they last? He then sent several vines to attack Nana. My hellfire doesn't fear your flimsy tree roots. Is that so? Then how about this? The very next second, countless vines suddenly sprouted around the huntress. They surrounded Nana instantly. In this situation, using hellfire would only hurt herself. However, the next moment, all of the vines were cut to pieces by the witch's blade. She was more than just hellfire. While Michelle's attention was on Nana, Sano seized the opportunity. He teleported behind her for a sneak attack. A massive slash instantly enveloped her, but once again, she deflected it using her subspace ability. It seems I need to take this seriously, to deal with all of you, she said. She waved her arm, and the ground beneath Nana and Sano began to crack. Soon, flower buds emerged from the earth, continuously releasing dark magic. Seeing this, the huntress Nana immediately unleashed the hellfire. She intended to burn them all. However, as the flowers burned, even more dark magic spread. The magic these flowers released was 10 times stronger than anything from the pollution tree. Merely touching them would cause contamination. And worse yet, attacking the flowers would only spread their spores further. Damn it. I should have copied the holy sword instead of the shadow move, Sano thought. At this critical moment, Lucas, who was nearby, activated the holy sword's ability. He instantly purified all the surrounding dark magic. Both Sano and Nana looked at him in surprise. They couldn't believe that Lucas would actually help them. This unexpected action instantly enraged Michelle. Michelle unleashed a barrage of vines to attack Lucas. "You betrayed me first," Michelle growled, "so don't blame me for being merciless." As Lucas intensified his attack, he quickly closed in on Michelle. Unleashing his sword technique, the prayer strike, and numerous sword lights pierced into Michelle. But her vines blocked them. They were then slowly pushed into her subspace. "You think you can defeat me with the power of the holy sword?" "How naive," Michelle mocked. "Is that so?" Lucas replied calmly. "But I've discovered that your subspace is part of the dark spirit, right? I'm curious to see what will happen when a holy sword pierces it." The next second, the holy sword struck Michelle's subspace, which was behind her. Michelle quickly controlled her vines, attacking Lucas and sending him flying to a nearby area. Despite this, cracks still appeared on the subspace, looking like glass about to shatter. Nana seized the opportunity, charging forward with her blade. "It seems you have nowhere left to run," she declared. Michelle, now in a panic, reacted quickly. Getting hit by hellfire would be extremely problematic for her. She immediately controlled her vines to block the approaching hellfire. However, the terrifying flames quickly consumed them. Everyone stared at the inferno before them. With no movement from within, it seemed their enemy was dead, or gravely injured. At this moment, Lucas, he turned to Sano and asked, "You can't copy Michael's subspace, can you?" Sano replied, "That's right. His subspace isn't a skill, it's an item, much like the holy sword itself. Michael is an elf from another dimension, and his subspace connects to other dimensions." Lucas then wondered, "But how can he stay in our world for so long?" "From what I know, staying in another dimension, long-term requires massive amounts of magical power." "You're absolutely right," Sano confirmed. "Then I suspect Michael relies on some specific item, and it's very likely his subspace is connected to this item." Lucas nodded. "I see. Since I haven't touched this item, I can't copy his subspace at all." Speaking of which, Lucas continued, "Why are you suddenly willing to cooperate with me?" Sano explained, "I wanted to kill you at first, but when I was captured by those corrupted trees, you didn't deliver the final blow. If you had killed me then, you could have obtained my curse ability." Lucas just shook his head. "You're overthinking it. I don't want to become a skill killer," Lucas stated simply. Nanas, who had overheard the entire conversation, was completely confused. "What copy? What curse ability?" she wondered. "And how do you even have the dragon sword Kalicha? Didn't you return it to Ares?" The situation immediately became awkward. Just as Sano struggled to find an explanation, strange sounds began to emanate from the infernal fire. Then massive vines erupted from the ground, instantly extinguishing the terrifying flames. Michael was standing on the vines, covered in wounds. "I originally planned to just play around casually with you all before Michael's arrival," he stated, "but I still underestimated your strength. The real battle begins now." Immediately, numerous branches whipped out, attacking Sano and the others. Everyone quickly dodged upon seeing this sudden attack. Sano then asked Nanas to use flames to block Michael's vision. Nanas instantly unleashed the infernal fire. As ordered, she formed an imposing wall of flames. I immediately jumped onto the tree trunk. Then I used Control+C to copy the branch of the corrupted world tree. A seed, containing 1/3 of the world tree, was copied into my body. It can be absorbed and grow, promising the world tree's blessing of life once it blossoms. However, anyone who carries 1/3 of the world tree seed will have their vitality forcibly absorbed if their health drops below 15%, causing them to lose the ability to use the world tree's branches. It seems Michael is at the end of his rope. In the next moment, Sano quickly summoned the branches of the world tree. Golden branches erupted from the ground, and Michael watched in shock as the black branches covering him, his body began to dissipate. Damn it. He cursed that guy, really, copied the corrupted world tree. Lucas seized the opportunity, determined to finish off Misael while Toxoff, he was vulnerable. Seeing this, Misael immediately tried to summon his own branches to attack, but failed. His branches, from the world tree, were now completely useless. At that critical moment, Misael quickly ducked to dodge the attack, but he couldn't completely. A deep sword wound appeared on his chest. "Damn it," he muttered. "I didn't expect to be this pathetic." Just as he tried to summon the subspace to escape, I used Control+C and simultaneously implanted spider silk and branches instantly binding him tightly. Misael gritted his teeth. Once elves cross dimensions, they also become monsters. The huntress, Nini declared, and my duty is to deal with monsters and protect the citizens. With that, she swung her sword heavily. The terrifying hellfire immediately enveloped him. Misael howled in agony as the flames consumed him. I'm surprised that hasn't killed him yet, I observed. You forced me to act, Misael growled. I'll make your world become like ours. In the next second, a huge spatial rift opened behind him. Stop him quickly, Shane shouted. If he succeeds, the entire world will be in danger. He immediately recognized the huge spatial rift as the true form of the subspace. Not wanting to lose this opportunity, Shane quickly charged towards Misael. The sharp sword wreathed in golden light pierced him directly with tremendous power. Shane then advanced into the subspace, dragging Misael along with him. This sudden turn of events left Nanase and Lucas stunned, unable to react. Inside the subspace, Shane found himself in a new dimension. The surroundings were completely dark and seemingly empty. Shane immediately crouched down, preparing to use his copy ability, Control+C. He tried to copy the subspace. A message appeared. Subspace is an item that connects to another dimension. It cannot be fully copied. This left Shane confused. Could it be copied or not? Another message appeared, forcibly removing the dark subspace from the target's body. A dimensional key is required to use this space. Shane quickly took the key and found that it worked. He used Control+C, and the system declared upgraded to level 3, then upgraded to level 5. Now all copied items and skills could be stored in the subspace, bypassing compatibility restrictions. Great, he exclaimed. Now I can finally copy the Holy Sword. Meanwhile, Misael, still bound, began to tell his story. My homeland and Greece were both brought to the brink of extinction, he revealed. This subspace was stolen from the fallen elf king Grammar, so to obtain it completely, I need to defeat him. Defeat him? Sano asked, as Michael scoffed. He alone brought my homeland to the brink of extinction. Before he could kill me, a dimensional gate fortunately opened, and I barely escaped. Arriving in this dimension, I sacrificed everything to bring this subspace here. Wait, Sano interjected. How did you turn it into an item? I used the curse from that dimension, Michael replied. This revelation shocked Sano. Another dimension also had curses? My curses are different. I was as surprised as you when I found out that this dimension also has curses. The problem is, I can't absorb curses from this world. I'm curious to know if your Control+C can copy them. So, my curse is your true target? If you die by my hand, just press the control, and a dimensional gate will immediately open. It will connect both worlds. That way, the Elf King Grammar will descend here. If it weren't for Zion, he would have come here 15 years ago. Why are you telling me all this? Because you are about to die. Just as Sano was processing all this, a giant claw suddenly attacked him. Fortunately, Sano reacted quickly, barely avoiding disaster. He looked in terror at the monster before him. It was actually a giant dragon. How was it inside the subspace? This creature didn't look easy to handle. If he were to leave, they would be doomed. As Sano continued to dodge the dragon's attacks, a brilliant light suddenly blocked its advance. Lucas was here too. You must have copied the subspace by now, right? Lucas asked. This dragon was brought by Michael. It has been corrupted by demonic energy. Leave this to me, Lucas declared. Get out quickly, and close this space. However, just as Lucas finished speaking, the dragon roared. It broke free from the Holy Sword's restraint. It sent Lucas flying with great force. Lucas fell unconscious, and the Holy Sword slipped from his hand. Seeing this, Sano quickly stopped his retreat. He shot a strand of spider silk towards Lucas. Meanwhile, in the outside world, the hunter Anise received an experience notification. But she had just fought with Michael without actually killing any monsters. So it seemed that beings from other dimensions were in fact treated as monsters. Around this time, all the other hunters gradually arrived. They stared at the spatial rift before them, discussing how to handle it. However, the rift suddenly began to show unusual activity. An explosion echoed from within the subspace, and two figures were violently thrown out. It was Sano and an unconscious Lucas, appearing before the shocked spectators. Sean ran towards the entrance of the space again. He had to close the subspace before that monster got out. As Sean's ability activated, the subspace entrance continuously shrank, however. Just as it was about to close, a system notification suddenly appeared. It read, "Due to internal forces, the subspace cannot be closed and must remain open." How was this possible? Could it be that monster? At that exact moment, the dragon's enormous head emerged from the rift. Then its entire body slowly emerged. Everyone stared in terror at the giant beast before them. "Everyone run fast," someone shouted. "This is not something we can handle." He immediately recognized the giant beast. "This is a dragon," he gasped. 15 years ago, just one of them destroyed an entire kingdom. The dragon had flown completely out, throwing Sean, who was still at the entrance, far away. "Damn it," Sean cursed. "I have to stop it." He immediately activated Control+V, using his World Tree Branches ability. In the next second, numerous branches coiled towards the dragon, completely wrapping around it. It worked. The dragon was stopped. Just as everyone thought the crisis was resolved, the dragon roared and broke free from its restraints. Its mouth continuously spat flames. "Damn it," Sean shouted. "It's about to breathe fire." Everyone, run. At that instant, the president of the Hunters Association raised his large shield. "It's too late," he proclaimed. "Everyone get behind me." Master Shirak quickly instructed the others to join him. In the next second, the dragon unleashed massive flames, transforming everything in front of it into a true sea of fire. Miraculously, this terrible attack caused no fatalities. The dragon's scales are incredibly tough. Common physical attacks and magic can't hurt it, but I have a method. We can use Michael to eliminate the dragon. However, the problem is that his target is you at this exact moment. A helicopter appeared in the sky right above the battlefield. "We must act now." "Not yet, we need to wait for the resonance of the dimensional fragment to intensify." Meanwhile, shortly before the great battle, Michelle and Michael were making their final preparations. "I'll leave this matter to you. You will be the one to open the dimensional gate." The hunter Sagan must have already made arrangements to prevent the gate from opening again. "And take this, it's the Guardian Stone, passed down through generations of my elven clan. If I am killed, it will emit a bright light guiding you to my true murderer. That will be the best moment for you to act back in reality." The Guardian Stone in Michael's hand was glowing red. Meanwhile, a crimson fish shot down, aiming for Hunter Nolan on the ground. The dragon continued its relentless destruction of the city, forcing most of the hunters to simply dodge. That's when Master Whitaker raised his staff and unleashed his most powerful skill, Black Lightning. However, even his black magic proved to be almost useless against the dragon. The most effective method would likely be physical attacks, but the creature was simply too massive. If ordinary hunters tried to slay it, the casualties would be enormous. Damn it, if only Master Theron Steele were here. Perhaps he would have a solution. But where could he have gone at a time like this? In a corner of the battlefield, two hunters discovered a strange, writhing slime. The next second, its temperature began to rise steadily, and with a loud bang, a figure made of stone burst out from the slime. It was Master Theron Steele, transformed by the dragon's flames. Looking up at the dragon, he exclaimed, "Damn, that thing is huge!" Beside him, small stone gargoyles began to emerge from the ground. On the other side of the battlefield, I tried once more to use the branches of the World Tree to restrain the dragon, but I failed again. That's when Lucas suggested, "We can push it back into the subspace." But I immediately shot down the idea. "No, if we do that, I won't be able to use subspace anymore." "But we can use the Holy Sword," Lucas insisted. "I know you copied the sword. The Holy Sword when you were in subspace. Copy it tens of thousands of times and use the power of the Holy Light simultaneously." I thought his plan was viable, but the real problem was how to actually push the dragon into the subspace. Just then, Master Theron Steele approached from behind. "Kid, I need to borrow your stone gargoyles," he said. Sean was intrigued, not knowing what he was planning. "I'm going to make that big lug pay." They quickly came to an agreement. Sean would open the subspace gate, and Master Theron Steele would push the dragon in. Soon, the moving cores of the stone gargoyles were being attached to him. Numerous cores were copied, and the moment they touched the ground, they instantly transformed into small stone gargoyles. Master Theron Steele immediately charged forward, slamming into the ground with immense force. I hadn't expected the effect to be this good. The stone gargoyles fused perfectly with his armor, but the dragon quickly rose again. It seemed one blow wasn't enough, and just as Theron Steele was about to try again, I made my move. I commanded all the stone gargoyles to charge directly into the dragon's mouth. The beast crushed them with a single bite, but that wasn't my true objective. The remaining stone gargoyles inside the dragon's mouth were preparing to self-destruct. Moments later, a massive explosion erupted from within. The attack knocked the dragon unconscious, causing it to collapse to the ground as everyone erupted in cheers. Believing we had defeated the dragon, I had no time to explain and immediately rushed towards the beast. Knowing I had to get it into the subspace before it woke up, I activated Control+V. Opening the dark subspace, a spatial rift appeared immediately behind the dragon. "Master Takashi, can you do it again?" I asked. His stone gargoyles self-destructed, so I can't do it like before. The situation was dire. If I copied brand new stone gargoyles, their levels would be too low right now. The hunter Nani stepped forward with a suggestion. We can use the Hellfire Shockwave, she said with urgency. We need to hurry. If it wakes up, it will be dangerous. But at that instant, the dragon was already awake. Kane immediately warned everyone to run. The dragon opened its mouth again, ready to spit fire. The hunter Nani immediately ran towards it. If we let it breathe fire, we're all lost, she exclaimed. Just as the dragon was about to spit fire, Nene brandished the hellfire with all her might, sending it flying straight into the flames. But it was swallowed in an instant. The entire city block was engulfed in scorching flames. Seeing this, I immediately used my shadow movement ability. Teleporting to Nini's side, I wrapped us in a spider web, then controlled the ball of silk, shooting it outwards. We successfully landed in a place untouched by the flames. Nina, how are you? I asked. I'm fine, she replied. But my witch blade. As soon as she finished speaking, the witch blade appeared nearby. I brought it with me just now, I told her. I activated Control+C. The system notified me that I had contracted the witch blade, and it would be automatically copied. Since its properties conflicted with the Holy Sword, the witch blade would be copied to the subspace. I didn't expect that items touched through a spider web could also be copied. Nine turned to look at the dragon. That big guy's flames are just too terrifying, she said. How are we supposed to deal with this? At that moment, a voice announced, This is the moment. The voice continued. Control+F, cutting the target object. Immediately, a yellow light descended from the sky, covering the dragon. Nini and I were also caught under the light's cover. I looked at the sky in shock, a sinister feeling creeping over me. A system notification appeared. Control+F discovered. Someone is using Control+F. Oh no, it's Michael, I thought. Lucas immediately shouted to me from outside the yellow light. Danger! Get out of there right now. Reacting quickly, I activated my ability on the spot. Control+5. Using the giant Spider King's web immediately. A black gas began to rapidly cover the surroundings until everything went completely dark with a thunderous sound. Both the dragon and the ground beneath it disappeared without a trace. What just happened? I wondered why there was suddenly a huge crater here. And where did the dragon go? Who was responsible for this? President Fua looked over in shock. Nanase was coughing up blood, clearly in extreme pain. Nanase's arm was gone, and blood stained her entire coat. Everyone immediately grew extremely anxious. Seeing this, Satoru Shinoda cried out, asking me why his sister ended up like this. Rita Sarah can definitely heal her, right? Don't worry, I promised. I'll take her to find Rita Sarah right away. He opened a subspace and took Nanase. As he was about to enter, a voice called out, Sano-senpai, please, you have to heal my sister. Sano simply replied, leave it to me. Shortly after Sano left, a helicopter appeared overhead, bearing the logo of a guild. The Rising Star Guild's emblem was on its fuselage. Moments later, Michael and his subordinates landed on the ground. Sorry, Michael said. That attack was a bit excessive. Takeshi Tsuyoshi stormed over, ready for a confrontation. Our hunter lost an arm because of your attack, he snorted. Michael shrugged. That dragon could destroy an entire country. So I had to use more force, Michael added. Losing just one arm is actually a bargain. Hearing his disdainful words, Master Takeshi Tsuyoshi exploded with rage as the two sides were about to clash. President Fua arrived just in time, stepping between them. Sorry to interrupt, he said. I am the president of the Island Nations Hunter Association. In any case, thank you for your support. At that moment, Lucas approached. He immediately exposed Michael's deception. He's the one behind all of this, Lucas declared. This revelation shocked both President Fua and Takeshi Tsuyoshi. Seeing his cover blown, Michael dropped the act and smirked. That's right, Michael admitted. This was all my scheme. Unfortunately, you will all be staying here forever. With that, he activated his skill. He uttered, Control. Select objects for deletion. Meanwhile, Sano rushed through the subspace with Nanase. He soon arrived at the hospital subspace, Sano thought. Just as I imagined. With a subspace, I can move freely within the barrier of the corrupted tree. Inside the hospital's 4th floor, a spatial rift suddenly tore open. Sano emerged, still carrying Nanase in his arms. Help! Nanase's arm! He pleaded with Aritasara, who was still in shock from the scene. Before she could react, Sano had already activated another ability. Control+5. Pasting infinite magical power, he knew that for Aritasara, as long as she had enough mana, she could restore Nanase's arm. He then activated Control+Z, repositioning the target's arm. What they thought would be an easily treatable injury suddenly triggered an error message. Objects severed by Control+10 cannot be restored. Aritasara had never encountered a situation like this and began to panic. I can't restore it, she stammered. A system message then appeared. This injury was caused by another curse, and cannot be restored through Control+Z. Damn it. Sano cursed under his breath. If that's the case, what if I use copy and paste? He then copied the severed witch's blade. Control+5, pasting the witch's blade. Just as Sano believed he had succeeded, an error message appeared. Unable to paste objects severed by Control+10. The witch's blade in his hand dissipated, gradually. Not even this will work? But Sano was not willing to give up. He continuously copied 3 witches' blades, but every attempt resulted in a failure notification. The blades he had copied on the floor vanished in the blink of an eye. Damn it, I can't believe this, Sano cried out in frustration. Control+5, infinite copy, Sano declared with determination, and countless witches' blades were copied, only for them to dissipate immediately. He kept repeating this process, copying and dissipating, while everyone else in the room watched, stunned, as countless error messages flooded the air. Finally, one witch's blade appeared and didn't disappear. An unknown error has occurred, and now I can copy and paste objects severed by Control+10, Sano realized. I really didn't expect that to work. He then turned to Aritasara and said, "Let's try again." Back on the battlefield, all the hunters suddenly saw a target shaped like an inverted triangle appear above their heads. This was Michael's ability. Select all in action. Immediately, several black rays of light struck the marked hunters. The terrifying power continuously bombarded the members of the Rising Star Guild. Michael activated Control+H, swapping positions with a target. He suddenly vanished from his spot on the battlefield, instantly escaping the blast. "It seems you're good at dodging. What a pity that I'm the best at daily magic." As he said this, he prepared to launch a large-scale attack. However, at that exact moment, Michael smiled coldly. Black rays are indeed a troublesome ability, Michael pondered. Then he snapped his fingers. "I'll deal with you first." In the next second, several small black spheres attacked Shirosaki. Surrounded by them, Shirosaki had nowhere to escape. Any parts touched by the spheres were instantly severed and fell straight to the ground. "You damn bastard!" Takuti Tsuyoshi furiously charged at Michael. A huge sound of impact echoed and numerous fragments scattered. The #1 guildmaster of the island nation is nothing more than this, Michael mocked. A semi-transparent barrier had formed in front, and Takuti Tsuyoshi's arm was destroyed upon contact. What kind of ability is this? Not even Takuti Tsuyoshi's attack works at all, someone exclaimed. "Don't be so shocked," Michael replied. Activating his ability again, he used Control+10, cutting objects in front of him. A huge black sphere formed instantly. After the smoke dissipated, only a gigantic crater remained. At the edge of the crater, 2 figures stood behind a massive shield. "Old man, watch your life," said one of them. "This is no ordinary ability. I could barely block it. Even my shield has cracks." Hearing this, Takuti Tsuyoshi was shocked. "Isn't this shield supposed to be indestructible by any weapon or ability?" Takuti Tsuyoshi wondered. This legendary giant shield was made from the bones of legendary giants. "If you even want to resist my curse ability, I advise you to stop while you still can," Michael warned. "As soon as the International Hunter Association finds out about this, both you and your guild will be finished." "And what if there's no evidence or witnesses?" Michael retorted with that. He activated his cutting ability again. Control+10 cutting selected targets, and countless black spheres then crashed against the giant shield. The terrifying power exploded instantly on the shield's surface. "Let's see how long you can hold out," Michael taunted under his continuous bombardment. President Fua and Takuti Tsuyoshi struggled to resist. In the next second, the shield's phantom completely shattered. The terrifying black sphere then directly struck the main body of the shield. Under the massive impact, Takuti Tsuyoshi quickly grabbed President Fua's collar. President Fua barely dodged, but his shield was already in tatters. Takuti Tsuyoshi wasn't so lucky. Half of his body was severed. For the 5th highest-ranked hunter in the world to end like this is truly pitiful, Michael declared. "Do you think you've already won?" Takeshi Tsuyoshi retorted, with electricity crackling around his body. "Even if my body is torn to pieces, this stone armor will not be damaged." His lost arm began to slowly regenerate. He finally transformed into a giant stone golem, and then unleashed a furious fist at Michael. However, just as the fist was about to strike, Michael teleported away. The next second, Michael appeared behind Takeshi. He activated Control+10 to slice the target, instantly destroying the stone armor's arm. But as long as there were stones nearby, the stone armor could repair itself quickly. It immediately raised its arm again, attacking Michael, but it was sliced off again. "Damn it, again," Takeshi cursed. "A stone man who revives infinitely. Truly worthy of the 5th-ranked hunter in the world." "You bastard, shut up!" Takeshi shouted, swinging his fist again. No matter how Takeshi attacked, Michael easily dodged with his teleportation. You may have forgotten, Michael said. My world ranking is second. With that, he quickly sliced off another of the stone armor's arms. Your attacks are completely futile, Michael stated. Even as he said that, the destroyed arm regenerated once more. However, Michael did not yield, launching the sphere cut. Dark spheres flew all over the stone armor's body. It's useless, Michael mocked. No matter how many times you try, it seemed like an endless stalemate, but Takeshi slowly began to notice that something was wrong. The number of usable stones around them was decreasing. You've finally noticed, Michael said. You've already gotten much smaller. There probably aren't enough stones to maintain such a large form, Michael continued. I used my ability to remove the stones. I will make your very existence disappear completely. Takeshi was completely panicked by this revelation. His stone armor ability depended on a vast number of blocks, making it infinitely versatile. That's why he had never feared anyone. But now, the very stones he depended on to survive were being eliminated by Michael. He simply couldn't accept this reality. Michael then raised his palm. The next second, he sliced through half of the stone armor's body. It's time to end this, Michael declared. Immediately afterward, he summoned dozens of dark spheres and bombarded Takeshi. When the smoke cleared, the stone armor slowly disintegrated. Inside, Takeshi was unconscious, falling straight to the ground. The surrounding hunters simply couldn't believe that Master Takeshi Tsuyoshi had lost. Does anyone else want to fight me? Michael challenged. At that moment, Ares, the head of the research department of the International Hunter Association, floated into the air. A gigantic iceberg began to condense above her head. I will punish you, Ares stated firmly. Michael just laughed. Do you really think you can do that? You are destined to fail, just like your mother. Don't insult my mother, Ares shouted, swinging her arm. The gigantic iceberg crashed down on Michael. Is this the best method you can come up with to defeat me? How laughable. Michael scoffed at this. He raised his hand and activated dozens of small, dark spheres. The moment they made contact, a massive explosion erupted. The iceberg split cleanly and precisely in half, falling to either side of Michael. But then, unexpectedly, another iceberg attacked him from behind. Seeing this, Michael quickly activated his ability again. However, he couldn't destroy it fast enough. The massive iceberg crashed directly into the city, the impact instantly, shrouding the surroundings in dense smoke. Just as everyone thought they had finally won, Michael emerged unscathed, standing atop the iceberg. Do you know the consequences of opposing me? He asked. In the next second, several dark spheres surrounded Ares. She immediately deployed her strongest protective shield. But under Michael's continuous bombardment, the shield shattered. She was sent flying backward through the air. Michael, however, wouldn't let her go, preparing to deliver a fatal blow. Just as Ares was about to be engulfed by the dark spheres, a golden light flashed. Her outer garment suddenly lit up with magical patterns, protecting her securely. Despite this, the massive impact hurled Ares directly into a nearby building. This is the immortal coat of the Sage Hunter. I want to see how long it lasts against my ability. He activated Control+10, an ability designed to slice selected targets. The building instantly erupted in a massive explosion. However, Ares emerged from the ruins completely unscathed, protected by the immortal coat. This was the first time Michael had encountered an item that his curse could not slice through, truly worthy of the creation of the strongest legendary mage. Just as Michael was about to attack Ares, again, Mal attacked him from behind with his sword, but Michael detected him instantly. A single dark sphere counterattack was enough to defeat Mal. Shinoda Satoru rushed anxiously to his side. Noticing that more and more people were gathering, Michael decided to deal with these small fry first. He activated Control+, instantly targeting everyone around him once more. The inverted triangle symbol appeared above their heads as soon as Michael's slashing ability was activated. The surrounding hunters began to fall one by one. Those still standing watched in horror as their comrades fell. Utterly terrified, everyone wanted to flee, but it was already too late. In the next second, dark spheres exploded where each person stood. To everyone's surprise, they all survived. It was the president, holding his damaged shield, who had barely managed to block the attack. All survivors, evacuate immediately. This approaching battle cannot be won by numbers alone. At that moment, President Ford noticed Lucas, standing motionless in the crowd, his hands trembling. Ford said, "If you are also afraid, then I advise you to leave with everyone else. Besides, you have no obligation to protect this country. I hope you can testify against their crimes later." Lucas, meanwhile, was struggling internally, drifting into deep memories. Hunter Sagan, Why do you insist on fighting now? You even want to borrow the power of the Holy Sword? This isn't even your country. When Hunter Sagan saw Lucas, he understood immediately. So, your parents refused me because of you. In the near future, national borders and race will no longer matter. An era is coming where we all must fight, with all our might. By then, you will understand the importance of the Holy Sword. At that moment, even if you feel fear, you cannot hesitate. Facing this sudden assailant, Michael simply raised his hand. Control, delete target. A huge dark sphere materialized instantly. Lucas did not flinch in the face of this attack. Wielding the power of the Holy Sword, he directly shattered the dark sphere. Now that Michael had absorbed Control+, was he invincible? Not yet. This was due to the existence of the Holy Sword, specifically, its radiance. The radiance could block all dark forces, and since the power of the curse was similar to dark abilities, the radiance still had some effect on it. The radiance and the curse power nullified each other, just as the Holy Sword was about to strike. Suddenly, a long and completely black sword appeared in Michael's hand, blocking the Holy Sword. For the first time, Michael had drawn his own sword in front of the others. I didn't expect that even a coward like you would dare to be insolent before me. Shut your mouth, you bastard. A furious Lucas struck at Michael continuously. He reasoned that, at such close range, Michael shouldn't be able to use his curse power. If it's just a sword fight, I'm confident I can beat him. However, at that moment, he heard Michael's taunting words. I am sure this is the worst decision of your life. Chaos control, Michael announced. It sliced through every object in the surrounding area, but excluded the user himself at this distance. Not even your brilliance could completely neutralize it. In the next second, Lucas was swallowed by the darkness. A massive dark sphere devoured everything around it. Suddenly, several beams of light shot out from the darkness. It was the Holy Sword technique, Radiant Burst. Lucas barely managed to escape the darkness, but to his shock, the Holy Sword made a cracking sound in the next moment. Half of the blade fell to the ground. This was bad. There was no way to deal with him now. I did not expect you to have another trick up your sleeve. No wonder Ares' attack was ineffective against you before. Now, without the Holy Sword, what will you use to fight me? Tell me right now. Where is Control+X? With that, he grabbed Lucas by the throat. He then condensed a sphere of energy. Holding it menacingly, he threatened, if you do not tell me, I will send you on your way right now. Suddenly, the space behind him fractured, and Sano leaped out. Wielding the dragon sword Kalicha, he lunged at Michael, who dodged just in time, stealing the curses of others by killing them. I would feel no guilt in killing someone like you. At that moment, Michael suddenly noticed his dimensional fragment was resonating. This meant that the man before him also had fragments. Dimensional fragments. He was even holding the dragon sword Kalicha, so this was the Control+X that Michael had been searching for. Just as he was about to attack, a blast of hellfire shot toward him. Just as he was about to be engulfed by the flames, Michael used Control+X to teleport away. The huntress, Nanas, stood at a distance. She looked at him completely unharmed. Satoru Shinoda was overjoyed to see his sister safe and sound. It was a miracle. Not even the healing arts of Master Kanda could achieve such a rapid recovery. But the one who was truly shocked, however, was Michael. Knowing the damage his Control+X usually inflicted, this meant her wound had been preemptively healed, even before she was injured. Suddenly, Michael's attention was drawn by a surge of magical power. In the distance, Rita was holding a giant's heart, treating Master Shirasaki. She actually has Control+Z. I need to focus my attacks on her first. Nanas, seeing this from a distance, immediately swung her witchblade with all her might. Two beams of sword light shot straight at Michael. However, Michael simply condensed a dark sphere, easily neutralizing Nanas's attack. Sano activated Control+V using branches from the World Tree. He directly summoned numerous branches to surround Michael, enveloping him quickly and tightly while that was happening. Shirasaki had regained consciousness, shocked to see his severed arm regenerating rapidly. Not only that, but his clothes and equipment were also restored. Such a heaven-defying ability must require a massive amount of magical power. At that moment, Shirasaki suddenly noticed that Arita Sara was actually holding a giant's heart. That bastard Sano said he was selling me. The only one in the world, he thought, but it seems he made countless copies. Sano, you were the first person I had to treat, and we need your help just a few minutes ago. Arita Sara had offered to help restore the health of high-risk patients in the hospital. This would require Sano to provide a massive amount of magical power. Sano's condition for this was that Arita Sara go to the battlefield and treat the wounded soldiers. He also took out a giant's heart and gave it to her. Consider this compensation for sending you to such a dangerous place, just as Arita Sara was deeply moved by this. Sano delivered some disappointing news. You can only use this heart for 10 days. I can set an expiration time for the replicas. If you want to possess it permanently, that will depend on your performance later. The scene then returned to the present. Aritasara was moving through all corners of the battlefield, treating the wounded under the protection of Master Kinosaki. At this exact moment, Michael, who was bound, broke through the branches with an explosion. Michael appeared before everyone. Once more, you really copied the branches of the world tree. The corrupted one too. Those are from another dimension. Just thinking about how you can copy items from other dimensions makes me eager to destroy them. Michael used Control+A to block all the personnel around. Seeing this, Nanes immediately unleashed Hellfire. But the same trick wouldn't work twice. A huge sword beam shot straight in his direction, but he simply raised his palm, used Control+A to cut the target, and blocked it effortlessly. Nanes had already advanced. A massive Hellfire swept toward Michael. Seeing this, Michael tried to use the same trick again, attempting to neutralize the attack in front of him, but even after repeated attempts, he was shocked to discover that the Hellfire not only didn't weaken, but became even more ferocious. With no other option, Michael teleported into the air. This Hellfire was really getting irritating. He then decided to target Nanes first. Activating Control+A, he selected Cut, target. A huge dark sphere swept towards Nanes. At that moment, Control+5 was activated, releasing Spider Silk from the Giant King's foot pearl. Sano used his Spider Silk to wrap around Nanes, pulling her back just in time. Are you alright? However, Nanes did not appreciate Sano's intervention at all. Don't interfere in my battle. Calm down. This guy is dangerous, Sano warned. You should help transport the injured. He picked a fight with me, so I'm the only one who can handle him. With that, Sano advanced. Nanes, now calmer, realized that she couldn't handle the opponent's strange abilities anyway, so she turned to help rescue the injured. Sano opened his system panel and activated Control+5 to use the light and shadow of the Spider Silk, and simultaneously, he activated his shadow movement skill. He instantly teleported behind Michael and launched an attack, but in the next second, Michael appeared behind Sano. I can teleport too, Michael mocked. And I'm better at it than you. Sano immediately spun around, swinging his sword at Michael, but Michael firmly blocked the attack. Only the blade's beam lightly grazed Michael's cheek. I didn't expect a replica to have so much power, Michael pondered. He activated Control+10, selecting Cut All, surrounding objects except myself. Immediately, the surroundings plunged into darkness. Sano, however, showed no panic. He immediately activated Control+5, replicating countless holy swords. In the next second, countless holy swords surrounded Michael. Are you planning to perish along with me? Michael wondered. Have you forgotten my curse? As soon as Michael pondered this, a violent explosion erupted where they stood. The terrifying power destroyed the entire street. From a distance, Satoru Shinoda watched the explosion with deep concern. At that moment, Master Shirosaki passed by. If you're worried about Sano, he said, I think you can rest easy. It's dangerous here, he added. You should also quickly move the injured to the underground space. Meanwhile, at the center of the explosion, holy swords and a callous dragon sword lay scattered about. A hand reached out for a sword. It was Michael who actually picked it up. At that moment, Sano also successfully revived. I see you can replicate your own body, Michael observed. By the way, can I keep this callous dragon sword? Sano replied. Use it as you wish. This sword is about to expire anyway. As soon as Sano finished speaking, the longsword in Michael's hand began to dissipate. It quickly vanished. It really has an expiration date, Michael muttered in surprise. If that's the case, Michael insisted what the lifespan of his body was. Sean simply said, I do not know what you are talking about. Michael scoffed anyway. Your curse cannot do anything against me. Sean smiled. You really think so? My curse power is slowly destroying you, and once my curse power kills you, even if you copy and paste yourself back, you will only become a weaker version. The more times I kill you with my curse, the weaker you will become. This will continue until you really die. He was not shocked. Everything Michael said was true. Although he had revived, he had not fully recovered. His basic defense was 245. His skill level was 7 and proficiency level was 10. It seemed that Sean did not have much chance of winning, but he had a plan. If his health fell below 25%, the Berserk mode of the Kalisha Dragon Sword would be activated. Maybe this would give him a chance to defeat Michael. With this thought in mind, Sean activated his ability, Control, 5 branches of the World Tree. But as soon as the branches were about to reach Michael, he suddenly teleported. He appeared behind Sean, pushing a long, dark sword forward. It left a deep and bloody mark on Sean's neck. Sean's health had fallen below 25%, activating the Berserker mode of the Kalisha Dragon Sword. Immediately, the sword in his hand pulsed with an intense red energy. Sean raised it high and struck downwards. Michael watched. In shock, the terrible light from Sean's sword split the entire street, but Michael, protected by his curse ability, used Control+5 to cut everything around him. He then dodged the attack. Michael said, "That was dangerous. I did not expect this sword to go into mode. Berserk. What a pity you still cannot melt me with just that. Just give up and go to hell." He then activated Control+5 target. Immediately, a black energy and broke out around Sean, quickly enveloping him. At this critical moment, Sean used his dark movement ability to teleport behind Michael, launching an immediate attack. But Michael detected it, activating Control+10 to cut everything around him. Both were instantly swallowed by the darkness, which would be held for 10 seconds. Trapped inside, Sean died painfully from the blow. Sean's Control+5 ability was activated, allowing him to revive. He was trapped in a cycle, continuous rebirth and death. Meanwhile, in another space, Lucas writhed in agony due to the power of the curse. He thought, "If only I had a replicated holy sword." At that moment, a coat was thrown over him. The curse on Lucas immediately began to diminish. The person explained, "My mother left me this. I do not know how it works, but it can eliminate most curse effects." Lucas was completely shocked. Could this be it? He wondered at that moment. A voice came from behind him. "Lucas, do you know the difference between the abilities that Michael uses and our own? Just as you suspected, his abilities are not the conventional abilities of a hunter," the voice continued, explaining that Michael's Control-X could sever all objects, completely erasing everything. "You must have noticed that you can't fully release the power of the witch's blade. It seems something went wrong during Michael's restoration process. If this continues, he might just keep deteriorating." The voice then added, "Not even Sano can perfectly replicate items that have been severed." Lucas asked, "Do you mean that Sano might not be able to defeat Michael?" "He has only one weakness," the voice replied. "To compensate for it, he has been trying to obtain the giant's heart." The scene then returned to the battlefield. Michael's voice echoed, "Control+10. The magic around him was severed. After the smoke dissipated, Sano, tormented countless times, knelt on the ground, covered in wounds. He realized he could no longer use his Control+10 ability. Both combatants were now approaching their limits. Sano gasped, "Your curse eliminates the magic around you. Is that why you want the giant's heart?" Michael scoffed. "It's too late for you to know now. What can you do at this point?" A system notification flashed. User severely injured, unable to use control abilities. Sano quickly opened his backpack, desperate to check his available items. Sano possessed three-dimensional fragments. They were resonating with his opponent's fragments. "It seems you have them too," his adversary observed. His opponent's words sparked a sudden thought in Sano's mind. The person with the most dimensional fragments could combine them, and their power would increase with each one. With this realization, Sano pulled a longsword from his backpack. "It seems you can no longer use the power of the curse," Michael mocked. "What good is a simple longsword?" In the blink of an eye, Michael teleported in front of Sano, stabbing him with his own sword. "You and I are on completely different levels. Before you die, hand over the fragments you have," Michael demanded. Sano smiled. "Since you want them so badly, then take them." As he spoke, three-dimensional fragments materialized in his hand. Immediately, the fragments emitted a strong resonance. The fragments in Michael's backpack reacted automatically. "Didn't you know?" Sano taunted. "The one with the most fragments can forcibly extract them, no matter where you hide them." Instantly, the fragments in Michael's backpack appeared. "By the way, there's one more thing I forgot to tell you," Sano continued. "When they combine, there will be one violent explosion." As the fragments automatically came together, a terrifying explosion echoed throughout the world. The blast carved a massive and deep crater across the entire area. Michael was covered in wounds. "What a miscalculation," Michael cursed. "This thing really explodes." Soon, he spotted his target in the ruins. Four-dimensional fragments lay on the ground not far from him. He teleported to the stone slab, where the dimensional fragments were. As Michael reached out to grab them, another hand snatched them first. It was Sano, revived once again by his copy and paste ability. He still held the dragon sword Kalishade, now in berserk mode. "Damn it, you're still not dead," Michael roared as Sano swung his sword down at him. He quickly activated his teleportation ability, but he was still a step too slow. The terrifying power struck him directly. The force of the sword instantly engulfed the entire city block. "I want to see you get up from this blow," Sano muttered. Sano then stored the dimensional fragments in his system backpack. "That was really dangerous," he thought. "I almost thought I wouldn't be able to revive again. Just like that time in the Snow Mountain Labyrinth, I recovered miraculously," Sano pondered. "It seems I still haven't fully mastered the power of the curse." Suddenly, a furious Michael stood up again. Michael began to chant, "Control." Select all objects in this area. I will erase you completely. Control-N, cut selected targets. Dark energy continuously gushed around the area. How is this possible? Sano wondered. Where did he get the magic for a move like this? He realized Michael wasn't using the surrounding magic. Instead, he was using the magic within his own body to cast skills. This was terrible news. The range was too wide, not even Sano's shadow movement skill could escape. Moments later, half the city was swallowed by darkness. Meanwhile, a man wielding the Gemini axe arrived at the edge of the dark sphere. This was none other than Turner Miller, the #1 hunter in the world. Is this dark sphere Michael's ability? He asked. Yes. This is worse than I imagined. At some point, Shinoda Shiro, president of the Great Sage Guild, had also arrived. Chief, he reported, I've contacted the White House. They told us not to interfere with matters here. The International Hunter Association has responded to our request for help. The country is gathering military forces. This is starting to get out of control. It seems we have no choice at this point. Tanner pulled out the last dimensional fragment. Don't be too hasty. I came here for a reason. I want to break through it. He then assumed a battle stance. Transfer all your magic to me. I'll take care of the rest. Silas then infused Tanner with his vast magical power. Control+ begins to store magic, overwriting previously stored magic as the power flowed. Tanner soon possessed 10 times his own magical power, his unique abilities deemed compatible with Titans. Soon, his body was surrounded by the phantasmal forms of 2 axes, purple giants wielding their 2 great axes. He leaped from the roof. He delivered one direct blow towards the dark sphere below. He's using my magic to enhance his weapons. But this alone still won't be enough to destroy the dark sphere. Just as Silas prepared to help, Tanner's axe began to struggle against the advancing darkness. Control+, severing surrounding magic. But the instant Tanner's magic vanished, Control+ released magic from the 4th layer. He was now continuously expelling magic, while endlessly replenishing it. When Tanner unleashed the 10th layer of magic, a crack finally appeared on the dark sphere. As Tanner pushed harder, the crack expanded rapidly. Soon, the entire dark sphere shattered completely. Michael, at the center, stared at the scene in disbelief. The darkness throughout the area quickly dissipated. Tanner landed softly on the ground. He then approached Zane. I felt the presence of dimensional fragments on you. Zane was stunned to see who stood before him. It was none other than Tanner, the world's top-ranked hunter. Is that thing on your neck a dimensional fragment? What is your purpose in coming here? Are you also here to steal the fragments from me? Now is not the time to talk about that. Let me handle the problem at hand first. He then turned to look at Michael, who was nearby. It's been a long time. If your goal is also the dimensional fragments, I advise you to leave quickly. You're still as annoying as ever, a complete troublemaker. At that moment, Silas also landed. Zane, where did everyone else go? They are all in my subspace. As he spoke, he extended his palm, opening a subspace in the air before him. Immediately, Samuel came running out, crying and hugging Zane. Professor Zane, I'm so glad you're okay. At that moment, Michael's voice interrupted. You, with the replication ability, it seems I underestimated you. I am preparing to leave. You need to understand one thing. My objective isn't the dimensional fragments. It's the abilities of the control key. Those supernatural forces that cursed us will appear again one day. We can't stop them with these cursed abilities. That is why the Hunter Sagan divided the key into 5 fragments and sealed the interdimensional entrance. Opening the dimensional gate is just luring them here. Are you sure you are prepared to face all of this? The next time we meet, if you haven't grown stronger, you can go to hell. With that, he teleported away. Is it really all right, letting him escape like that? Don't worry, the next time we meet, it will be his end. After the introductions, Tana took out his dimensional fragment. I only have this one. And you? How many do you have? The rest are all with me. Tana was incredibly excited by this news. He urged them to quickly fuse the fragments into a key. Calm down, someone intervened. They explained that this place was the way it was, because 4-dimensional fragments had already fused. It was hard to imagine the consequences of an explosion, if 5 fragments were to fuse. So, a suggestion was made to go to Country M. If the fragments were handed over to them, they could be stored in a guild. I don't want to go to such a terrible place, someone said. At that moment, Sano had an idea. He looked at Shinoda, Satoru, and the others. A guild? Sano pondered. Maybe he should create a guild of his own. 3 months after the battle with Control+X, everyone arrived at the Nevada desert in Country M. As their vehicle slowly entered the mysterious Area 51, the gate closed behind them. By this time, Sano's injuries from the great battle had long since healed. This is truly unbelievable, one person exclaimed. We've actually reached the legendary Area 51, and it's all thanks to my communications with the high-ranking officials back home, someone added. You know, I am the most remarkable hunter in the world, after all. Shinoda Satoru leaned close to Sano, whispering that the fellow was unexpectedly good, humored. Surprisingly, Nagazo was also in the car. Ika Nagazo asked Sano if it was really okay for him to come along. Sano reassured him, saying it was fine. Since Ika Nagazo was a guild member after all, Master Takute spoke up. Master Takute questioned if they had come all this way for just one thing. This place isn't just related to aliens, someone explained. They also conduct research on hunters and labyrinth-related matters here. Here, our primary research focuses on items related to interdimensional races, another added. More importantly, our recent research has focused on special abilities called curses. Rita Sarah was very surprised to hear this, realizing that was why they had been brought here. Everyone was eager for one thing, to build a gateway to another dimension. Not everyone thought so, however. Opening the dimensional gate wasn't just about research. Simple barrels? You are far too cynical, someone observed. From humanity's perspective, if the dimensional gate opens, we will all gain more opportunities for research and development. Besides, Hunter Sean's father's research would become much clearer. Sean wondered to himself what his father had truly researched. His true purpose in coming here was to uncover that truth. This takes us back 3 months to the Hunters Association building in Country H, where a post-war Hunters meeting was being held. By this point, Michael had become a global fugitive. So, how is the destroyed city now? Someone asked. Do not worry. Everyone, the reply came. The city is currently under repair, and has already been restored by about 80%. This news surprised several people at the meeting. How was so much restored in just 1 week? How was this accomplished? Someone insisted. I am very sorry, but this involves classified information that I cannot disclose, replied the speaker. We have special personnel whose information cannot be made public. What I can say is that Sean deserves most of the credit for resolving this crisis. The people in the meeting room immediately began to discuss this among themselves. Sean, however, did not care about their opinions of him. He turned to Vanessa and asked how Lucas was now. Vanessa replied that Lucas's family held considerable influence, but he was currently in an interrogation room. She added that she had heard Lucas had lost his position in the family. More importantly, he had already handed over all the holy swords to the country. Upon hearing this, Sean immediately understood how Lucas must have used them. When the battle ended, Sean had replicated a holy sword and given it to Lucas, telling him to take it. Ares had told Sean that without this sword, Lucas would not be able to alleviate the pain caused by the curse, so Sean had instructed Lucas to keep the replica as a backup. The scene then shifts to Sean meeting Master Shirazaki to discuss future plans. Sean asked why they had to go to Country M. Master Shirazaki replied that Sean should have seen the scene of the explosion back then. That was just the damage from the fusion of 4 fragments, dimensional ones. If the final piece merges, the power would be unimaginably great. Do you think there is a suitable place in this country? You have your subspace. Couldn't you merge them in there? Unfortunately, I have already tried that. Dimensional fragments cannot be merged in the subspace. So the only place I can think of is the desert region of Country M. You're not planning on joining the Tunnel Guild, are you? Of course not. Besides, there are 2 things I need your help with right now. 2 things? After you tricked me with that replica of the giant's heart, you still have the audacity to ask for my help? I'm forming my own guild. Can you help me? Tyra was very surprised to hear this. Why form a guild? My guild would always welcome you. I'm sorry, but I want to get stronger with my friends. I like the idea of having my own guild where no one interferes. Later, at the hunter's office. Ares, I didn't expect to find you here. I came to Country H to investigate my mother's disappearance. Someone nearby then asked, intrigued, you 2 knew each other before? Yes. We met before my mother's disappearance. I've been thinking about something. The other person, the Western hunter, met after me. He used to work at a research institution in Area 51 of Country M. Do you know Sean Kaiser? Ares seemed to remember seeing that name in her mother's notes. They mentioned he was a supervisor at that research facility, studying items from other dimensions, and that the usually calm Western hunter seemed particularly kind to him, as if he were family. At that moment, Sean also arrived. Are you talking about my father? He said. Everyone was very shocked to hear this. I didn't expect Sean Kaiser to be your father. A week passed quickly, and Sean's guild was successfully established. This is our guild's office. It's fantastic. And I'm the second member of the guild too. Someone nearby quickly argued. I think I'm the second member. You're the third at best. Another person retorted, "Why are you all so obsessed with this order?" Hunter, Nancy, and President Fua even came to congratulate Sean. "Sister, why don't you leave the association and join us? You're always welcome here." President Fua then said, "You two are really something, poaching my staff right in front of me." While everyone was talking, a figure entered from outside. It was Lucas. "I was abandoned by my family, and now I have nowhere to go," Lucas declared. "I originally planned to become the first member of this guild. You still want to be the first? Stop dreaming," someone mocked. "Even I am only the second," someone nearby asked, intrigued. "Who is the first member after all?" Sean spoke up. "It's time to welcome our first member." The scene then shifts to the underground city of the Skull Tomb. Slave number 1. "What are you doing? How dare you forget to collect the skeleton sword on the ground?" The man being ordered around in the corner immediately replied, "Yes, I'll get it right away." Another black-haired man then asked with intrigue, "What is his name? Why do you call him slave number 1? His name? I think it's Aiden Nash. He owes